Welcome back to Natural 20 Proof, everybody. Thank you again for logging on to the stream and following along with our adventures through Cala, Anor. Real fast, I of course want to give a quick shout out to Sirenscape. We're using their online web player. It's in the beta phase right now, but they're adding new features constantly. We took a pretty long break recently, and I just hopped back on there, and they almost doubled their sound files, so it's kind of brilliant. You can get on there and make custom sound sets for basically any mood you're trying to deliver, whether that be a Wild West adventure through some zombie apocalypse, or a debaucherous rampage through the high seas of the Caribbean with your piratical allies. Any of those are possibilities for you, Sirenscape, so go ahead and give that a try. We are broadcasting live from the MacLeod Hall up in the northern Willamette Valley in Oregon. We have one of the widest selections of fermented honey beverages around, so if you're in the area, make sure to come check us out. We'll definitely blow your mind with what's out there. And then a real quick shout out, of course, to masks. I know that vaccines are getting out and about for everybody. That is not an excuse to stop wearing your mask. We currently are all in a very localized pod here. We basically spend all our time with each other, and we all currently have drinks. But if we're not at this table actively, like with our little community, then we're always wearing masks no matter what. A lot of us are also vaccinated, which, by the way, get that vaccine. This is not a political issue. This is a common sense issue. Go get it.
Even once you have the vaccine, wear your mask, because you can still catch it. It just won't be as severe, and you can still pass it along, even though you won't have symptoms.
Yep, this is a matter of public common courtesy. We all want to be on the other end of this as soon as possible, so make good choices.
Please.
And I think that pretty well rounds it out. And then we do have to speak a little bit to our new DM screen up here, because this has been a long time coming. I feel so bad. Roberto's running a little bit late, but he actually is the one that got this thing all hinged up. I would show you how it works, but I'm kind of afraid of tearing the whole world apart over here with all the sound equipment. However, it's all reversed hinged. It's beautiful. My sister designed the whole thing and actually custom painted it. I've got like metal plates on the back of it that I can magnetize stuff to, so
Speak of the devil. Yay.
oh yeah, this is the man responsible for hinging up this wearing his mask for hinging up his the DM screen here, so we can all thank Roberto for that.
And thank you,
Killed it.
sister.
Seriously, Emma, you are awesome. This is freaking beautiful, and I'm so happy to actually be able to be DMing from behind this finally.
And start time next week.
And start time next week. Unfortunately, we are changing our schedule, so we're going to have to be starting around 11 o'clock going forward, as we're opening a little earlier for the meat hall. We don't need customers coming in. So make sure to log on at 11 o'clock getting started, and we will be on. Or 12?
We'll figure that out.
We'll figure that out. Well,
It'll be posted.
yeah, we'll post about it. We'll get a little more.
It'll be posted on Facebook, Discord, Twitter.
Follow our social medias.
That's true. Follow what we say and do. Keep following. Do what we say. Say what we do.
Yes.
We'll post about that.
Pending
Yes,
the Twitter
but,
mistress.
And then as well, next week, unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town, so we'll either be on break or we'll be doing a one-shot, depending on what people would like to do. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on, and again, posting it on Discord, Facebook, social media, the whole 9 yards. So if you want to follow along with whatever exciting things we're doing next week, make sure to check there as well. And I do believe that pretty well covers it, so why don't we roll on in? There he goes. There he goes.
17.
Good game.
That's pretty good. Okay, good. Is that good? That's good for you guys, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's see how good it's going to be for me.
That one.
1.
I will reveal nothing.
It's all hidden behind his new screen.
That's right.
Actually, it's
all
off
of my
the side.
secrets.
That's a 1, boys.
So, shut up. Don't at me. And with that, we're going to get started with our recap. So, last time on our adventures through Cala Anor, the party departed with the expedition of Cadius LaRue, who is carrying goods down through the Mistlands, down the Savoynes Highway, all the way to Vesic, where he plans on selling them. For the first leg of the journey, the party has been enlisted as protection, as guards for the caravan. And their services were quickly required as you encountered a mysterious individual on the road on a causeway, sort of in a bottlenecked area of the Mistlands, who announced himself as Renian. He asked you all to surrender your goods and move along quietly. However, naturally, that was not going to happen. So, you all engaged with him. However, a further group of bandits leapt out of an aperture in the sky where they'd been concealing themselves in a rope trick to ambush the party and cause a great deal of havoc. There was a sort of a tense first few moments of the battle in which a few of the party members were knocked out rather quickly. However, through some well-placed healing words, some really happy balms from the summer court, and a lot of tactical gameplay and some explosive fireworks, the encounter was ended in fairly brutal fashion as Helri Gelnaga gained a strange fire in her eyes upon the orcish fighter hitting her with the maul, and summarily took off both of the fighter's arms and is now standing above her prepared to finish the job. However, Beatrice, the gnome artificer that ambushed you, begged for the orc's life as one of her friends, and given that they are now helpless now and we're all using non-lethal tactics the whole time, they were requesting that they be allowed to live. So, some of them were already fleeing. However, it remains to be seen the fate of the fighter that Helri was standing above. And that is where we left off. Desmond interceded and has placed himself in between the fallen warrior and Helri. Helri's sword is lifted and is staring down at the fallen foe with murder in her eyes. Now, granted, the Desmond getting in between here is a little bit of a tricky maneuver as you're sort of occupying the same space. However, you are allies, so you're allowed to do that for a little bit. And that's where we left off. So we're going to go ahead and start things off with Desmond. Desmond, you, at the end of the last session, announced that you were going to stand in between the fallen warrior and Helri. What are you going to do?
Say,
You got this.
Helri, look, I know you've got some sort of madness in your eyes right now, but I know we said a cost had to be paid, but look, there's the hand that took your sword, if that's what's bugging you. So here, and I'll pick it up and I'll say, you can take that.
Incidentally, I believe that Saris, you had something you wanted to do as well towards the end of that last session.
yeah, I was kind of like over there where Renian was. I gave him up to the gnome, and I wanted to make my way back over there, picking my shield along the way, and kind of join Des in sort of walling it off, and check on the orcish woman and see like if there's anything I can do to like stabilize.
Now, this isn't really a saunter on over type of moment.
No, yeah.
This is a you got to act now and quickly
This is a
type of
hustle.
moment.
We're gonna
yeah.
mosey on down here.
Yeah.
I'd like to take my turn.
She bleeds out.
It's his turn, Vegeta. We have to wait.
It takes a very long time to say anything in Saris.
Was anybody else having any particular response to this? Saris, are you hustling over
Yes,
there?
I am hustling over
Okay, you're also leaping over there as you see Desmond getting in between. Okay.
I'm kind of just standing at a distance, just sword still drawn, looking just kind of uncertain about the whole situation.
Okay.
I guess I'm still looting the one I killed.
You're still looting her. Good. You already found all of the remains that were scattered amongst the ashes.
Shiny.
What's going on over there? Ah, fuck it.
They're all there. They got this.
Yeah,
Okay.
You don't seem like yourself right now, Helri, and you look an awful lot like you're gonna swing that sword straight through me. And that thought hurts a little more than I imagine the sword would, although I know that's a lie.
All right.
Ease
Helri,
over.
you feel a pressure from around your mind, a kind of just red haze across your vision, and staring down at the fallen orc, you can't help but feel a sense of finality to this.
Yeah.
That, this decision's already been made.
Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Is it my turn?
it's your turn.
I would like to make an attack with my greatsword against the fallen orc.
Okay. Is anybody responding to this? Saris, you are now within range, I'm gonna say.
If I can just bull rush tackle.
Okay, so go ahead and make an attack, and go ahead and make an attack, Elreach.
Am I attacking the orc?
You're attacking the orc, however, Saris is going to see if he can bull rush tackle you out of the way.
My question is, do I have advantage? Fallen enemy, etc.
You are going to hit, no matter what. This is a question of whether Saris is going to be able to prevent you.
Do I have advantage, is my question.
No,
Sorry.
not in this one, because
Okay.
this is an opposed with Saris, not an opposed on their AC.
Now, quick question. I don't remember the condition exactly, but if I am not mistaken, let me see here. Okay, never mind. Nope, I was mistaken. Here we go.
All right, so I'm going at this unarmed, coming in with a swing. I rolled a 10 for 18.
Okay.
This is me rolling to see which die I'm going to use. Don't. Okay. Looks like we're going with green.
Okay.
I am very green. That's gonna be a 25.
Oh! And with that, Saris, you charge in at full bore. Desmond, do you do anything incidentally during this?
I'm still there.
You're still there?
I'm still there.
Okay, so
I mean, I'm definitely not gonna hit.
Helry is a lot bigger than you and is not going to have a lot of trouble just hacking over your head down. It's not really something where, unless you actively are responding to attempt to block it in any way, then
Tickle her as
she can choose not to hit you.
Okay. I will not move at all.
Okay. Okay. All right. With that, Saris, you slam into Helry's midsection. However, you feel her large orc bulk, her feet just grip into the ground. And despite your powerful furbolg build, it's kind of like, an unstoppable object meeting an immovable, wall. And,
That's the brick in the brick shit house.
and as you slam in, you feel a slight kind of tremor through Helry's form. And you can't really see it, however, you feel her core tighten, muscles flex, torso bends down, and Desmond, you can see over the top of your head, the sword flashes briefly in the dim glow of the sun through the fog before it slams down over your shoulder and behind you, point first into the ground behind you. You hear kind of...
As a quick note, I believe that's only 2 failed death saving throws.
She did fail one at the end of
She failed
last.
one earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, she hadn't been stabilized?
Well, at some point, the spiritual weapon is going to come in and take the head off, whether it's necessary or not.
Okay. As this sword comes down, you hear the final breath leaving the warrior's lungs, and then there's a sudden just kind of whir of black feathers behind as the axe spins around behind and chops down. Saris, you can't really see. Desmond, you can't really see. You can only really hear what happened. However, you do hear a shrieking from Beatrice. No! We're leaving. Go. And Beatrice and the wizard hauling Renian's unconscious body rush away down the causeway, disappearing into the fog. Helry, you feel the kind of fervor leaking out of you, kind of almost emanating forth, almost like waves of heat billowing off of your form. As the red sort of starts to leave your vision, and you stare down at the form of your fallen foe on the ground. Now, little more than a collection of mangled limbs and parts.
Harry, was that really necessary?
fix this.
I think I might be able to spin this at least, but that's about it.
How much freedom do I have right now?
You are now, there's nothing really controlling you. You feel sort of a sense of satisfaction at a vengeance conducted. But you're no longer under any kind of battle lust or influence to continue the carnage.
Hey, Cass!
Yeah?
How much money we packing?
We're doing all right. Couple hundred gold. Why?
Shit stains!
I'm gonna call out to Rain and his folks.
Renian at this point has regained consciousness as it apparently Beatrice had pumped some form of healing magic into him. He sort of turns and limps. You can only really see him dimly through the fog as they like rushed away. If they do stop and sort of turn and look back. What?
I'm gonna kneel down over the orc. I'm gonna reach in the pouch of my belt. I'm gonna pull out a diamond. I'm gonna press it into her chest and cast Revivify.
All right.
Come get your friend!
There's a flash of light, a coursing as the diamond cracks a sort of inner light within it, expands outwards and shatters. The shards of the diamond embedding themselves deeply across the warrior's chest. You see it punching in through plate armor, in fact, and digging in deeply into the skin below. There's small flecks of blood that well up from those points. However, sinews and bones begin to knit together. Fallen limbs actually reconnect in this sort of slithering motion as they crawl their way back to the body. And there's this sudden flash of light that illuminates the whole form, and there's a well, I never want to do that again. And as the warrior's eyes open and looks up, she and staggers to her feet and backs away from your visage.
You're gonna be just fine.
Well, actually, I've got the hand still, so you might want to take that with.
Yeah, you actually ain't gonna get that back.
There's you ain't getting that back.
The spell doesn't bring that back.
Well, in this case, the ones that were close together did sort of knit back in,
sure.
because
Fine.
otherwise, like
Otherwise, the head.
the head is not
That's
connected
the head. And if
anymore.
you're saying no,
Would be-
it's
Forget about that detail.
At some point, yeah.
Bring you back.
But I did pick up the hand.
Did pick up the.
before.
You can see the hands kind of like twitching and seems to be like almost pulling back towards the body, not like hard or anything.
Sure.
Well, it's fascinating.
I'll write down right hand in our inventory.
My description of flavor hampered my later role-playing action, and I regret.
My ruling is that Revivify is like healing magic plus ultra.
Yeah,
you know, it'll like reconnect severed limbs and stuff. It won't
Sure.
regrow them, but it'll reconnect them.
Sure.
Right. The hand sort of like pulls in your grip. The light fades and the hand goes limp again in your grasp.
Oh, well, that's less fascinating.
She gets up, the warrior kind of staggering away from you. Beatrice rushes back, a small form in the mist reappearing, looking around nervously at all of you, but then moving over. Come on. We won't forget this. Thank you for your mercy. And she takes her hammer and drops it on the ground in front of you and hustles away.
Next time someone gives you a chance to leave, take it.
Well, we're doing that now.
And if we actually catch you back on the road here, holding up anybody else, we will finish the job though.
Yeah, I think I've had enough of this lifestyle. She looks towards the paste that was the tiefling, and kind of turns and moves off away down the road, kind of ushering along a still very battered and shaken orcish woman with her. About the same height, actually. Orc's a little bit taller.
Holding y'all to that promise. And somebody up above is watching too.
And like right behind them as they're stumbling away, but behind them, the axe is just gonna go shink right into the ground.
And they just like double time it down where Renian and the wizard are still standing in the sort of obscured from view.
I'm a bit sorry about the child person there. Kaz, are you sorry?
Yes, I am actually sorry about that one. I
Yeah,
didn't realize the situation at the moment.
We're sorry about that.
Yeah. You can't do that again.
You got another diamond?
Not on me.
I don't.
Yeah, well.
That's.
Do they?
She hit me really hard. I just want to say that.
Are you okay? Do you need healing?
Actually,
I'll be all right.
Demand that they drop all their shit. Did they drop any diamonds?
It's true. They did drop their various purses and pouches on the ground.
If we can find it in the next 30 seconds.
Does she need a head though? Because it's kind of ashes in the wind.
Mine didn't have a head either.
There is actually a diamond in one of the purses.
I hold it up. Would this work?
We's about to find out.
Okay.
I'll go give it a shot.
You see the swiftly cooling remains plastered across the walkway. This is going to be an interesting one. You take it, same process, this kind of shattering effect. It sprays across. You can see small pock marks appearing over the lower body, which is all that's left at this point.
Like pushing.
There's a sort of popping sound and a sort of as sinews are reforming out of the pasted cells across the walkway. Blood and muscle tissue are recoagulating together. Charred bits are suddenly sort of expanding out and rehydrating.
There was a necromancer killer.
Technically, that is correct. It is of that school of magic.
Before they all flow back together into the unconscious form of the tiefling lying on the ground, and all at once her chest expands, and she starts to breathe again.
I just want to say for the record, you hit me first. I just hit a little bit harder than I think I should.
What is that?
Hi.
Your friends
This
went.
is probably really weird for you right now.
Your friends went that way.
I think you can probably still catch up pretty easily.
Jesse,
She
what does she look like?
Oh my gosh.
Well, she has deep purple skin, although very red and pinkish right now on the upper half. Obviously, currently not wearing anything on her upper torso, and these long horns kind of swayed back over the top of her head. Very lean build, wiry, and obviously very strong. She does have one missing eye that was covered by an eye patch until obviously said eye patch was removed.
That one was me.
And then, but it seems to be just like a hollowed out socket in that part of her face.
Reach into my pack, because I imagine with the nature of everything that happened, the whole top half being gone and everything.
Reach into my pack, pull out a blanket, wrap it around her shoulders, let her cover herself up.
Pat her on the back.
Don't worry, darling, you're gonna be just fine.
I'll cast Healing Word on her.
More like the top fourth, not the half. all
I
right?
mean, I just, if it's necessary, I'm gonna just let her have her dignity back.
I'm all for that. I'm just saying for the record.
Joseph, we're gonna go with semantics. The top fourth is just like cover her head.
That was my, that was kind of what I was saying. I'm just
I wrap a blanket around her head.
You're gonna be just fine.
We wasted time for this.
We went dark again. We thought we were out enough.
I didn't get that part, Hillary. You just undid it and redid it.
I have to say, we always use non-lethal tactics in any of our ambushes. You take that to the next level.
I was never taught non-lethal.
Well, that was a very expensive lesson. I hope you learned it. Or wait, did we learn it?
We kind
I
of
think
learned
it
it.
cost us just as much as it cost them.
It
That's
cost
true,
them-
actually.
Yeah.
But
your friends went that way.
you say non-lethal, but if you're stealing people's goods, that's how they survive. So yeah, they might survive the rest of the trail, but they might not have money to feed their family in the future. So you might be actually killing babies and small children and entire families by robbing them. So it's non-lethal, but it's really just, delayed lethal.
We only ever took from Savoyans who were packing goods from across all of the world. I mean,
And you don't think they have families?
well, they have more than we do.
And do you think the guards got paid after you robbed them?
Well, that's,
Sure, not really a problem, I get it. You know what's funny, Pine Size? I had not even considered that. I was really pissed off because, what if they knock us all out, get our shit, move on their way, and then, literally one wolf shows up? We are fucked.
It's true.
we never took any of the goods from the actual guards. The guards are, of course, just like us. They are just people. It's the Savoyans who are profiting off of the...
I'm sure you got a ton of reasons why this wasn't that big of a deal. I played that game. You're out of this conversation. Go catch up with your buddies.
I
I've
agree
actually
with
got
that.
a whole bunch of weird feelings about this statement right now.
Oh, okay. You have been allowed to continue.
I appreciate that, and I will not forget this. I promise I will not be making this my occupation anymore. You please have a safe rest of your journey. And she turns and kind of rushes away, although she does cast one last look towards Kaz before there's sort of a confused look on her face, and then she rushes off down the road.
Goodbye. That was weird.
What did she have against Savoyans?
I don't know.
Oh, I mean, well, it's a pretty complicated subject that I'll be honest, I don't understand all that much. But what I can gather, people have complicated feelings about why some people are rich and some people starve. Now, when it starts getting into the numbers of it all, I don't really get that. But I get the way people feel about it. And that's a whole mess I ain't even ever tried to dive into.
How much did that diamond cost that you used?
Why would you bother to rob poor people?
Well, the one that I used that was ours was 300. The one that I used that was theirs, I have no earthly idea how much that cost.
I think it was about the same.
Yeah, probably. From my understanding of things, it was at least that much.
Somewhere in that ballpark.
It was like a $3,000 diamond.
Come back here, I want to see if I can get it back.
At least get half price back.
Guys,
or
at the
something like
juicer?
that.
What's going on here?
Store credit.
That is a question. If you can only use a 300 gold piece diamond, if you use a 3,000 gold piece diamond,
It's
it's
a
300
diamond.
all gone.
He's gone.
Well, I just wondered if it shattered and you had
No change.
It leaves you with a chunk of
cheaper than a
diamond.
jump cutter.
That's resurrection change, not gift change.
Yeah. Make that like an artificer perk or something. Like you just get to use exactly the amount of material you need.
Transmutation wizard
Yeah.
can literally take a 3,000 gold diamond and pull out 300 of it.
Just extrude out a 300 gold chunk. Okay, cool. Then there is a thing in D&D for that.
Yeah,
Nice.
or turn a diamond into dust if the spell says specifically diamond dust, or all kinds of cool shit.
Just get out a
Or
cheese
turn
grater.
diamond dust into a
A
nugget.
giant diamond.
Yeah.
The biggest one you can find.
So,
Well, first he has to transmute another diamond into a diamond cheese grater to cheese grate the diamond.
Nice. It sounds like a very good use of time.
I heard
Would you like diamond pasta?
so how much other stuff did we get besides just the
Extra
diamond?
diamond.
So taking a look around on the ground, you do find the hammer, which upon closer inspection is an interesting... It does not appear to be just a normal hammer. It seems to have been some kind of fairly utilitarian, sort of ball-peen looking sort of hammer used for small construction engineering, though there are runes kind of up and down the handle of it.
Just headed to into a.
Give me a few minutes, I'll figure it
Okay.
Well, it looks like your type of thing anyway.
out. A hammer?
You do also find, strewn about in the various purses left behind, 868 gold pieces. 20 platinum pieces.
Somebody's getting that right.
Okay, so it definitely cost them more than it cost us. That's how I was worried.
One more time.
868 gold
They
pieces.
started it, it should cost them more.
20 platinum pieces.
Okay.
3 rubies, each worth 100 gold pieces.
Ooh, those are pretty.
6 pieces of amber, which are each worth 15 gold pieces.
Ooh, I like those.
There is also 2 pieces of onyx, which are each worth probably around 50 gold pieces. And then looks to be a couple of potions, 2 of which are standard potions, well, 2 of which are greater potions of healing, ones that were not used. And it looks like another potion, which is kind of a, it's sort of an undulating green potion.
And I'm so sorry, how many onyxes did we get? Was it 2? 2. Okay, thank you. I was trying to keep up with everything. And just out of argument's sake, does that include what I took off the monk originally, or is that everybody besides the monk?
That is everybody, like, aggregate. Like,
okay,
all of the
gotcha.
various pouches that they dropped on their way out.
Cool. So
I imagine
I'm
the
gonna
monk.
erase the ruby I.
Oh, and of course the silver knuckles that you picked up.
And there's 2 of those, right? Or
Yeah,
just
like
one?
a set.
Yeah. One set, gotcha. So I'm gonna erase the ruby from my personal inventory since we have it in the group inventory now.
Okay.
I just imagine the monk getting like halfway down to her friends, checking her pockets, go, hey, wait, they still. Well, actually, fair.
You're not lying. What do you want from us?
Now that you mention it,
Walking back up to us. Excuse me, I was wondering if you. Oh,
Go on,
no?
get
Okay,
it.
all right.
Cadius.
Wait.
At this point, Cadius and the other sailors kind of wheel the carts up the.
There's ever been.
At this point, Cadius and the other sailors kind of reemerge, walking the cart back up to meet you. Well, so that was an impressive display. Honestly, didn't know how they really pulled that ambush off. That was a wibbly wobbly bit of business. Anyway, y'all definitely earned yourselves a bonus at the end of all this. So consider an extra 50 gold in it for each of you for that. That was something else.
By the way, to barter the full share.
That he did. I got to say, you were not exaggerating. So, yeah, you'll get some take at the end of this as well.
Much appreciated.
I was wondering, and we can discuss this if we need to, but do you happen to have any extra diamonds kicking around? Because we kind of had to use one of those.
I mean, unfortunately, that kind of comes with the territory. You guys being the.
No, I understand. Maybe we want to discuss it as a group, but I was thinking it might be good to have that around in lieu of the bonus.
Buy a couple more.
Based on what?
Or even buy some.
Yeah, I can do that.
Sure, we can just buy. Whatever we want to do. But I think based on what it can do, I think it'd be good to have one kicking around.
It's nice to have a traveling merchant with us.
How about this? If you've got one, we'll hold on to it and then we'll exchange it for the bonus once we reach our destination.
Yeah,
That's acceptable.
I got some diamonds. I can kick one your way. Yeah, if you're okay exchanging a bonus for that, then sure, I'll give you a diamond.
Sure. All right.
All right, give that to you now.
Could be your life next time.
Well, I suppose that's some insurance.
We literally have one job.
Well, if you use it on me, I will reimburse you for the diamond. How about that?
I appreciate it.
But if you're bringing back any more bandits on the road, I can't make any promises.
You heard him, Edlin. Tonight, dead of night. I'm joking. That's just a joke.
I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Please bring me back to life if I got killed.
Yeah.
That sounds bad.
So not tonight?
Not tonight.
Okay.
Another night.
Wait, what?
No, nothing.
All right.
So go ahead.
He goes and fishes around in the cart, coming back and tosses a gleaming diamond through the air towards you.
I will make a voluntary dexterity check. It lands in the swamp.
I will try and catch it.
I go running for it.
0.
He was
I go running into the swamp trying to save the stupid diamond.
okay.
Natural
Roll
20.
perception.
Oh,
check. Cash just yeets himself off the causeway into the swamps below. Down in the you are immediately eaten by a giant serpent.
Seems right. Seems fair.
You see a twinkle in the muck.
Transmutation wizard.
You see a twinkle in the muck, and you kind of swim. You pull out triumphantly.
I'm still standing there. Look at Cadius. If you desire for me to have things, do not throw them to me.
Yeah, I'll make note of that.
Thank you.
Ellery, can you get me out of here?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Lift him up like a wet rat.
Kaz, we talked about this at the ship. We talked about this at the dock. Stop jumping into the damn water.
You may want to consider taking Mage Hand. It can be quite useful for situations.
Oh, I do have that actually. You mean this? And I look like
Excellent.
and I hand Ellery the diamond.
Adventure.
I have to say, I respect your method a little more.
So nobody.
I'm gonna spend 5 minutes presidentating crap.
5 entire minutes.
It's a lot of crap.
You gotta do several passes.
I know. It's just like
Nobody.
Help out.
So this entire time, nobody's been pretty quiet, and you can't really tell what's going on, what's happening with the gears. And eventually, he kind of turns around. I did not realize there was a method to avoid consequences such as these.
Tell the truth, I didn't either. Till it happened. That's how a lot of it works for me. I ain't really familiar till it actually happens.
You can tell that even attempting to think of the implications of that is sort of melting his brain. And he's just standing there kind of squinting.
I know that look.
Why don't we grab some food? You hungry?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do that.
I think we need to keep moving. We're in the middle of the swamps.
I think
Could we move on a little bit and then take at least a short rest? I can play a song during it and get us all a little more rejuvenated.
I could really use a short rest. For the record, Hillary is fucked.
I really use a song.
Is that okay with you if we take a quick
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like the idea of resting out here. The swamps is full of all kinds of weird stuff. But if we keep going along, the causeway ends, a couple miles down, and we can take a rest then.
Sure, what could go wrong?
Have you seen much that's weirder than us?
I mean, saw some blokes just fall out of the sky a second ago, so that was pretty weird.
That was a cool spell.
I mean, shrieking ghosts in the mist, obviously, that's a bad one. You get sometimes these,
Well, let's move on and you can tell us on the way.
okay, you get a, as you're going down, he kind of regales you with stories of the Mistlands and the kind of things that come out of the swamps here. There are obviously the Banshees, which are probably like the thing people fear the most out here, though they are pretty uncommon, generally speaking.
What isn't scary?
Save one. The Beast.
Huh?
The Beast.
The beast! The beast!
Which one?
No, the Beast of the Mist Coil? Is that not?
Of the Mist Coil. This is the Mistlands. So, different place. There's lots of mist around here. It's a misty place.
But we're going to be getting close to the mist coil.
Yeah, but not anywhere near where the beast would be.
Alright.
That's in like the center of the jungle. That gets the deep wilderness out there.
What about where the mist coil golden apple is? Is that near the beast or is that near the edge?
I don't really know. I don't go in there. Honestly, I haven't really found any. I think it's kind of a myth, to be honest.
Which one?
The golden apple? Beast, maybe. I don't know. I know there's worse stuff. There's just about the worst that you can find out there. I mean, that's where the dragons live, too. So, you stay the hell away from the deep mist coil if you can avoid it. I mean, it's not hard to avoid. There's a whole road around it, so take that. But, long story short, just about the worst you can find out in the Mistlands would be hydras.
That's pretty bad.
Wow.
Incidentally,
Fire, right?
Yeah, you can all kind of see me just tense up a little bit, and yeah, bit of fear in my eyes at that one.
Again, not real common, but you find a Hydra out here, you might be able to take it. There's enough of you, but can't say as you'd be able to. Can't say as you'd all be walking away from it.
Well, if we take a head apiece and he burns them all, that's 7 heads.
Hydras are difficult. I've
Have
seen
you-
great people die to those.
You've seen a Hydra?
I have.
No, he just said he saw great people die to them.
Well,
The Hydra might have been invisible. Based on
Sadly,
my
it was not an invisible Hydra. It was a very, very visible Hydra, and it was disturbing, to
But
say
you
the least.
escaped.
I did, yes, and others did not.
Wow.
Yep.
How many parties have you traveled with?
Not too many. Admittedly, the Hydra one was one of the last, and since then I've been a little bit nervous to get back out there.
What about the fate of the other groups before the Hydra one?
How many groups have you traveled with that still exist?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Well, it depends. Do you count this one?
let's count this one.
Oh no!
Then out of
Now we can't get rid of him. He's an albatross. Oh no. Oh no.
Honestly, I've only really traveled with one other main adventuring group. I traveled with an Urim Knight for a while, and it was just me and him traveling along, trying to make a name for ourselves, and it ended poorly. So since then, it's really just you guys. I've been just performing since then. A little bit scared to actually get out there, but I definitely had some prior experience. You guys could probably see I'm not brand new to a fight.
We are his rebound. That is so much worse.
You know what? To be fair,
I've been there.
I've only had one party that I've traveled with that's been alive, and it's this one. It's the only party I've ever traveled with. But it's still the same. It's still only one. So we're the same on that front.
I feel like we should go around the group. I've been part of one party before, and they are all still alive, to the best of my knowledge. How about
Right
you?
here.
Huh? No, before this.
Oh, before this. Okay.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I don't mean to pry. Never mind. We don't have to play that game if we don't want to.
That sounds like a good around the campfire game after
That's a drinking game.
a drink.
right there.
Yeah.
After one drink, come on, Dice Size, I've seen you.
The collective groan of introverts around the table.
Cockatrice venom it has.
Did you use any kind of ice or anything against the Hydra?
I did not. At the time, I was admittedly not that experienced. I was if I would rate my skills at about a 5 right now, I would have probably been about a 2 back then.
Out of like
So
a
your
scale of like
level of
20 or-
accomplishments, and a level of skill, you'd put yourself at a 2 of maybe like 20?
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
That scale. Yes.
I was just curious, because maybe we can like throw hail at the Hydra and see if that works, I know it was a lengthy one, but I was going to get there one way or another.
I love it.
Is underneath that red flesh is a red skull?
Maybe.
So we're gonna get going now, right?
Let's go, Captain.
And at some point, I would like to grab Desmond for a quick private combo. Just while we're walking.
Infinite page.
Yeah, as you're walking along, it's not too hard to kind of like go sidle up next to him. And if you'd start to like hang back or something like that. It's up to you, but you're still on the causeway for a little bit.
Sure.
Do you want to try and make that happen before getting off the causeway, or like?
As quick as possible, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Desmond, Helry kind of approaches you, coming up next to you. You can't help but feel very eclipsed by the vast form that now flanks you. Huh?
Sort of sheath, and also I'm hunching, which I normally do when I'm talking to little people.
Okay.
Your back's gonna hurt.
Isn't
so
that
bad
everyone?
after this.
Yes.
That's Cyrus, isn't it?
Hey, I didn't hit you. I didn't like nick you or anything, did I? When I was going over.
No, but if there's a next time, I will jump in the way.
Yeah, well, I'll keep that in mind. I won't hit you. I won't hurt you.
Well,
It's just that sometimes I'm just real clumsy. You saw when he threw me the diamond, and I was afraid that when I was doing the backswing that it might have. So I just wanted to check.
I've seen clumsiness in the look in your eye didn't say clumsy, it said something else, and I've seen that before, and the people that hold that kind of look aren't people I'm interested in hanging around with.
Yeah. I don't blame you. I guess my blood was really up or something because, like, I wanted to kill him when the fight started, and then I heard everybody on our side saying, no, stop and whatnot, but like, I guess that one I just really, just couldn't let that stand.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, because I feel like, now I'm trying to remember exactly how many stories Desmond heard versus what was just told at the table regarding your backstory now.
Hillary talks a lot, so like I tell any story assuming that it was probably told around a campfire or something like that. If there's anything that you've heard, Hillary probably said it in a moment. She's probably repeated some stories a few times.
Well, you used to take lives for money, I believe, right?
Well, that's a complicated answer. I was a gladiator, but see, I had a bit of a code.
Yeah.
In that I wouldn't kill anybody in the ring unless they'd agreed that it was a fight to the death beforehand. So, for example, any slave, not gonna do it. They ain't there because they want to be there. And that's actually why I got in trouble. That's why I had to skip town, because the people who ran the ring, they didn't like that I decided when people were supposed to die. They thought that was their province. But those people on the road, there was no consent. There was no discussion of terms. Fuck, if they showed up and been like, hey, we want to fight, we ain't gonna kill you, you don't kill us, winner takes all, I'd have been like, hell yeah, sure, that's just fun, fighting's fun. But they just went in, and I'm not of the mind to let people like that hurt my friends. And that ain't something I forgive.
I can understand that, okay, but I still felt like there was more to it than just that. I think if you had a code and that person was already on the ground bleeding out, I don't know why you'd need to hit him more. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, truth be told, I ain't got nothing against killing. I have times when I won't do it, but one of those times is not when somebody attacks me. I'm in like triple negative territory now. I will kill shit. I won't. God damn it. Those people broke a rule of mine. When somebody does that, I don't tend to let them walk away, depending on the rule, obviously. But when I saw them, when they took me down, and then, even the newbie over here, when I saw him go down and everything, I just saw red.
Yeah. Well, I've got a code as well, related to death and killing. That event was dangerously outside of my code, and as hostile as they might have been, I trusted the whole group here to pull through. I don't know how much fear you had for your life, but I felt pretty good having my friends around me.
I did too.
How loud are you guys talking? How much of this can the rest of us hear?
I mean, I'll make a stealth check.
For you, Edlin, it's honestly not really hard to hear, especially given I'm sure how inquisitive you are. I'm just gonna say, almost undoubtedly, you would be kind of like strafing close enough, and your hearing is very, very sharp. Go ahead and.
Hillary probably thinks she's talking quietly, but she rolled a 4 on her stealth check.
So basically, everybody has got like an ear turned slightly towards this whole conversation at this point.
Respectful.
And I think it's probably along the lines of like,
Well, you know, I have a code when it comes to people. Yeah, but you see, on the other hand,
I don't know if you're trying to talk too quietly either.
Not
Dave.
being particularly quiet about
My perception was a 21, so.
Yeah, like passive perception wise, like with Hillary talking that loudly, most folks probably, unless you just have absolutely no interest in this conversation whatsoever, most folks are probably able to sort of like lag behind a little bit and sort of eavesdrop slightly.
Nobody is staring into the mist in a corner. Just, what does it mean?
What are the implications?
Look, I can't pretend to tell you what to do or anything like that, but I want you to know that everything about that moment was very uncomfortable for me, and it was outside of everything I've ever held true to myself, and I need a little bit of space between you and me, I think. I'm fine to travel around, and eventually that space can grow a little closer, perhaps, but I think until we understand a little more what took over you, I'm going to hang out back here.
that's fine. And I'll tell you what, I'll promise you this. It comes down to it in the future. I'll check with the group, and I'll check with you before I do anything like that. If for some reason I can't speak to people or can't check in with everybody, I'll do what I think is best. But I promise you, if everybody's telling me to stop next time, I'll stop.
That makes me feel better about it, for sure. But also, if you think you've got something you don't quite understand that takes over you, you should probably let us know about that too.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I ain't never exactly had it happen like that before. I've had my blood up, but, yeah. I could hear everybody, but in that moment, I just really didn't care. And that is new to me. I hope it doesn't have anything to do with,
The sky?
you know, like,
Oh, right, the air. Yeah.
but to be honest, I don't know. I've always liked fighting. I've never liked killing.
Looked like it in that moment, though.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't nick you with the sword, right?
No, I'm all good. Plus, I can heal myself.
Well,
I'd like to learn that trick, although that you did, raising those guys up from the dead. That was pretty interesting.
I wish I could teach it to you, but I do not know how any of it works.
Well, do you want this hand, or shall I just
No,
put it back?
please, chug it in there.
I think I've got. Wait, do I have? Is it
Pickle
Ron
it.
that has the pickle juice and stuff?
Yes.
Oh no.
Just give it to some kid, it'll be a
Orc
handout.
hand, right?
It was an orc hand.
So it's green? Mm-hmm. Okay.
We won't be able to tell if it's going bad or
like
not.
a pickle, won't it? Oh, I'm not accepting food from you ever again. I don't know what'll be in it.
It must be on Ren that I've got my jars of brine.
I think, was it Ren?
Oh wow, yeah. Well,
I think we should stake that to the side of the road with a sign saying,
It's an interesting thought.
thieves, the penalty for thieving.
Can make it like quaint. where they went?
Last note.
Keep your hands off the goods.
Last note, and then I'll give you your space, and I'll keep my mouth shut the rest of the day. But I've been thinking a lot about our talk. I don't know where that goes. About your scars and what you said. How you said that your scars were self-inflicted because you'd rather have tested your chemicals on yourself than like animals.
Right, yeah.
I respect that a lot. It's just, I've been thinking about it, and most of your scars, and the worst scars that I've seen, were on your lower back. And so, if there's ever anything that you want to talk to me about, I got 2 ears.
What? They aren't though.
You said they were when we were in the bat scene.
On the shoulders, I thought.
Oh. Okay. Sure.
You're really
They were kind of on your back. So, you know, if, and I'm not making any assumptions, but if there's ever anything you want to talk to me about, I got 2 ears.
Okay. Yeah, I can. We'll think about that for sure. There's plenty to say. I've never said it before, I suppose, but we'll think about that.
Yeah, take your time.
I gotta go back and watch now. I said on the lower back.
It is a nice
All right, this looks like a good spot. You see that the causeway has dipped back down and sort of the marshlands open up around you. Much more firm now, more soil, still muddy but not swampy. And there's a small kind of opening out on the road where the path creates kind of a natural clearing amongst all the rushes and reeds around you. You notice that the mists are beginning to clear somewhat. Its visibility is improving significantly over the dense fog that surrounded the causeway, especially. And you can't help but smell a slight change in the air. Less of a salty breeze and much more of like this, the smell of flowers faintly in the distance, kind of rushing across on the gentle breezes that move through this place. And you get the sense that you might be nearing the last chunk of the Mistlands. All right, well, let's take a quick rest for lunch, and then we'll continue on, and hopefully we'll be to Letty's rest before nightfall.
Excellent.
And yeah, as everyone takes a short rest, I will be playing my Song of Rest. So if you regain hit points from hit dice, you get an extra 1d6.
Okay.
Per
And not
How
per,
long
just
does
total.
aim last?
Yeah.
So I still have it.
Sorry.
So is the rest of our journey still going to be pretty wet? We're still on the wet side.
You're still in Relgar. The whole area west of the mountains is pretty well constantly soggy. Up until you get into like the Krandar forests, which those are still wet, but they're more like temperate rainforest. And there are parts of it, more like the Oregon, like the Oregon coast mountain range, the coastal range, and then of course the jungles down there are also rainforest, but significantly warmer. So out here there's just no tree cover to kind of absorb a lot of the moisture, so it's just kind of constantly soggy.
All right, so I would like to, during the last 10 minutes of our hangout, I would like to ritual cast Walk on Water, so our entire party is not sinking in. And also I know that, foot rot was a problem, especially if you get out to the Claw Garden, so then we don't have to worry about wet shoes or anything like that.
Oh, wow.
It's up to 10
Nice.
people.
Yeah,
How long does it
yeah.
last?
An hour. It's ritual, so.
Just take 10 minutes here and there and
Yeah.
keep it us.
Wow.
I'm thinking.
So is there any particular flavor you want to add to this ritual?
Now I would like it to be when they're stepping down, it to actually look like there's some oak leaves that they're walking on that are just kind of like, almost like lily pads, but they're just huge oak leaves that they're walking on.
Okay.
T-post to activate it.
That's really cool.
Activated.
So kind of moving around this clearing, especially around the party members who've assembled for food, you start to work. The tattoos of waves start to kind of flow across your skin, and you feel them kind of almost lick up against the world tree tattoo you have. And they kind of carry off little oak leaves that carry them along the surfaces of the tattoos as you're doing this dance around, and eventually... And you all swear you could hear like the rustling of like leaves in the wind for one moment. No leaves are visible. However, we'll say the Leoro, as you're stepping through, you step on a puddle by accident, like, oh.
I'm gonna dance a little jig.
As you touch, and it seems like out of the depths of the water, just oak leaves are drifting to the surface that you're landing on.
Now, Kaz, if you do try to jump into the swamp again, it actually won't let you, so let me know and I'll try to like drop that.
I think I'm okay for jumping in water for right now.
All right.
I'm kind of maxing out my limit.
All right.
Cast it on everybody but Cass. You're fine, Cass.
Go try.
Can I, would you say that prestidigitation could do a brief little like sprinkle of raindrop type thing?
Yes.
I'm probably gonna go start dancing on one of the larger puddles and just playing music and kind of do a singing in the rain type thing.
Yeah.
I'll druid craft like an oak branch for you to like use as a light pole.
Nice.
Just gross.
Yeah. This spindly little like oak like reaches up, and then just a branch just boop, out over the top.
Nice.
This
Minor illusion, an umbrella with him.
constant pattering of rain on these few little leaves that you're able to summon. It produces a relaxing effect to go with Leoro's performance.
I think we should just open a theater. I think we'll be good at this.
Yes.
I will always be on board with opening a theater.
I'll be your stagehand.
I can build probably whatever you need for the stage.
So good at sense.
Headline actor, obviously.
I'll take tickets.
You'll rob them blind, literally.
Taking everything.
I can also handle special effects.
It's true.
Nobody, what would you do in our theater?
Lead grip.
I was distracted. I'm
Still
sorry.
trying to figure out the diamond thing.
No, it's just they attacked us
Yes, they did.
without intent to harm.
Well, at least don't intend to kill.
Well,
I mean, they
were
technically
intending to-
harmed me.
They were intending to steal from us, and they were trying to hurt us. So I wouldn't say there was no intent to harm. Maybe not to kill, but they were definitely trying to harm us.
But there are ways to reverse harm.
Well, we pretty much reversed it back on them.
But if there are ways to reverse death, then... And he's just... He's just staring
I
at
think
the ground.
nobody's blue screen.
Head empty dial-up noise.
404 not found.
He really... so he's trying to struggle against the idea that reversing death exists. They could have just killed us and done what we did. And taken our stuff. But we, like, Uno reverse carded them. And then we did what they were doing, but better.
Well, except it cost us 600 gold.
We did what they were doing, but better. That's how it worked.
So, like, who's wrong here? He's just struggling.
They started it.
Well, yeah, they started it.
We finished it. It was
Yeah.
their fault. We
So let's-
fixed it.
But
So let's keep it into character conversation. If these conversations wouldn't have happened in game, then yeah.
I don't think.
No, I'm
nobody's
agreed.
gonna-
This is
I
an
agree.
this is an after game conversation.
even out of character, I'm having a little bit of a struggle figuring out how I feel about it.
Sure.
Very
Join the club.
Good.
I am the one who actually killed somebody, technically. So,
One of two.
one of two.
But they're alive.
Right. Oh,
You are not wrong to feel this way, nobody. It has serious ethical and philosophical questions that I do not think are discussed or thought about enough. Fortunately, I'm not interested.
true. Nobody really knows the answer to these questions.
Well,
Oh, you do?
Does he?
I don't.
No, I don't.
Oh, yeah.
Well, here's-
Welcome to the
here's-
club on
I need
that.
to get used to that one. I
Here's
suppose.
one
That's quite
silver
difficult.
lining for the whole event, that we have it on, pretty good word of theirs now that they won't be hiding on the road anymore and harming anybody else. So we've at least stopped a cycle of events that would have kept going had we not intervened.
But that was the cycle.
The cycle's over though.
Right, but the next travelling merchants would have been attacked if we didn't stop them.
There is literally no reason for them to change their ways. They will simply gather more weapons.
Except that they might run into us again, and they probably would not enjoy that.
Yeah.
They know that next time it probably won't go quite that well for them.
But even if they run into us, they will be alive.
I don't want to speak to.
I think
Did you all catch the names of those blokes?
Yeah, we got
Beatrice?
Renian was the leader, I believe.
Well, he was the first guy I talked to. I don't know if he's the leader.
My notes appear to have gone missing.
Well,
I'm pretty sure that actually.
usual approach to this sort of thing is to let the Urim Knights know that there's a bandit gang on the loose. They start to come out there again, especially group. I mean, they was pretty tough. I haven't seen a group that well organized in some time. But if there's somebody that dangerous on the road, then Rosewell's start sending out more patrols along there. We can probably talk to Sir Gareth in Bara coming up here. It's not really his exact territory, but he's sort of the representative from Abinlock in the area, so he can often send out patrols in the Mistlands. Usually that's how we deal with it. Should keep them off the road at least for a while.
I'm thinking the fact we healed them means that we didn't care if they came back because we'd just do it again. And I think that might have an effect on them. The fact that we cared so little about their attack that we actually healed them all and sent them on their way.
We also disarmed them and removed much of their resources. It will be rather difficult for them to get back to what they have.
We've at least delayed their process significantly, so that gives us time to alert the Aaron Knights and all that. So
It's true.
I think outside of them having more to come back with at some sort of hideout, which I was thinking about, maybe they've got a hideout and maybe we could get all the goods that they've stolen and try and find the rightful owners. That's kind of what I wanted to do. But I wasn't going to mention that yet. Maybe I should have.
Actually, a fair thing we should do once we touch down with somebody. Yeah.
Actually, question for the DM, how nicely dressed were they? Did they look like people that have been living a life of luxury based on their stolen goods?
They were functionally dressed. They haven't been living a life of luxury. Clearly, rough from what you saw. It looks like travel attire mostly, some armor, of course. The usual, what you could see was, again, very functional. Renian was probably the most gaudily dressed. He, from what you could see, did have a small cloak, like a sort of a trimmed cloak that he was wearing, and
But
seemed
they
to have
like crazy expensive materials necessarily.
no, more like brightly colored, not necessarily expensive.
Okay.
Since we are, sorry, go ahead.
So one thought though, they did not exactly seem to be living the life of luxury based on what they've stolen, so it's possible they have not exactly been spending it, and you never know what their intentions were with it.
Well, how settled are the treks out? Can we actually trek them out?
I mean, they'd be walking off from the caravan, which I'm not, and I'm assuming, well, I guess Caddy's there, so I actually wouldn't say anything.
We're being paid to guard the caravan, not to hunt down bandits.
Sure, but depending on how far away they are from the main road, we could at least get an idea of which direction they're headed.
Well, I wonder if maybe when we get to Bara, that someone there may know some more information.
No.
Sure.
You're
And
probably
maybe
gonna,
someone's willing to pay for us to take them out, or at least investigate.
It's true.
Might as well get paid for doing a good deed.
Yeah.
or if I'm being honest, these guys here seem like maybe one of their first times ever doing anything like this.
They seemed far more skilled than I would imagine from.
Oh, I imagine they fought before, but holding up caravans? I don't think they thought that through.
I don't know, man.
What makes you think that? They seem to have a strategy to avoid killing people and knock them out quickly.
The way Rainian was talking before everything started going down made me think that maybe this is a new business venture that they won't be returning to anytime soon.
A lark. It seemed more like he was playing a game.
Yeah. Which, not entirely keen on the methods we used necessarily, but I'd be surprised if they were coming at it again.
I was surprised they went for it when there was only 4 of them and 8 of us and a whole caravan.
5 of them.
5 of them. Are you including Beatrice too?
That'd be 6.
Our 6 of them, okay, still. It seemed like they were pretty drastically outnumbered.
Oh, Beatrice too is still here, right? Like we could collect it.
No.
Beatrice 2 did disassemble. Beatrice basically, like upon surrendering, allowed Beatrice 2 to fall apart.
Well, while we are taking this rest, didn't we find some items that had some weird arcane symbols on them?
Yeah, let's take a look at those, and I'll spend some time identifying ritually.
Okay, cool.
And the hammer, I think.
While you're all doing that, I'm gonna
Potion,
take a
yeah.
little bit. I want to take a little bit of a walk down the road, just make sure road up ahead's clear. Anyone want to come with?
I'll go with you.
I will
Alright.
too.
And if you do spot the trail, try and keep track of where it heads off. I guess we don't have to follow it yet, but if we know where it verges, we could
Keep
go
them-
back to it.
keep an eye on
Actually, did they go, when they ran away, did they run the way we came from or the way we were going?
They ran the way you were going.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, so I probably would have been, well, yeah, I remember.
Okay. So who all's going down the road again to check forward? So, okay, good. Edlin, Saris, and Penny, you start heading on down. We'll start with the group staying in camp here, and we're getting a ritual cast identify, right? Mm-hmm. And you're identifying the
Potions and the hammer.
the potion and the hammer. Okay,
Something
perfect.
else that was magical?
They seem to be just very fancy brass silver knuckles.
Well, I can still take a look at them and see if they have any properties at all.
Sure.
Okay. You spend some time ritually identifying them. The potion is a potion of enlarge. Upon kind of like shaking around, you can see a small bead of red that kind of surfaces briefly in the green and is the source of the undulations of the liquid as it expands and contracts within the potion, and that's the real key indicator that it's an enlarged potion.
Don't like that word.
The knuckles are +1 knuckles. They are silver, so they could be useful against, incorporeal foes potentially. And of course, +1 meaning any melee attacks or any unarmed strikes in this case get +1 to hit and +1 damage, and also get can punch targets that require magical weapons to hit them.
I think someone I do.
The hammer is the most interesting. It is, again, like a small ball-peen looking hammer. It's not anything too enormous or dangerous looking. However, this is a... Wait 1 second.
I have a cleansing stone.
This is called the Life Mender's hammer. And it doesn't have any kind of particular bonuses to damage or anything. However, you can hit something, and instead of doing damage to it, you can instead restore 1 hit point to it, 6 times per long rest.
Wake up.
Yeah.
My sword's broken. Yeah, but you're awake, right?
Discussion earlier.
It does require attunement, and I will get you an item card for that next time.
Run me through that again.
So it is basically it's a mace. Deals 1d6 damage, bludgeoning damage if you hit somebody with it, and it has 6 charges. And you can spend 1 charge upon hitting something to restore 1 HP to it.
Wow.
doing the 1d6 damage?
No.
So you're like, I kill you, but it's actually non-lethal.
No, you replace the damage. You replace the damage with it's like from Wreck-It Ralph. The hammer. Yeah, I can only fix things. So you.
I strike you in the face with healing.
Yes, that is exactly how it works.
Good against zombies.
Well, it's like if Anna went melee. I love it.
This is quite interesting.
Yeah,
It's like it's mercy.
it kind of seems a little counterintuitive, but you can actually, bonk people into health.
Yeah.
Great.
Who do you think should wield said hammer of healing?
Well, it works as a regular hammer too, so you could actually, do some real damage too. Honestly, I think I could use it, but anybody that wants it could have it.
You know, I'm not opposed to you hanging on to it for now,
Does
especially.
it heal objects?
Ooh.
Not the same way. I can. What do you have in mind?
Well, it is a hammer.
Right. Yeah, I could like hammer nails and like.
It is a hammer that heals wounds.
Yeah.
So if you struck objects with it, would it heal broken objects?
I don't know, but I could probably do it in a way that it looked like it healed it anyways, because I could like cast mending and.
Ding! We'll say this can be your focus for casting mending. How about that?
Dick.
Yeah. Bonk.
Ah, very good.
Yeah. Do you have anything that's broken?
Oh, no.
Well, let me know, and I'll give it a go.
I just thought it would be funny.
I think you should have it or keto.
Wait,
What's the assist action? I heal. I hit.
hold on.
We can give keto like
Can you
8 of them.
imagine?
Yes, I can.
I'm
We're not
pretty sure
there.
the rules
I know, I'm not here.
explicitly say he can't wield anything, but
No.
Except for an ever moist towel that
I
came.
know.
We'll look into it.
he's not wielding that. He'll be
So wielding it.
It's a mace. This thing weighs
Fly
4 pounds. I mean,
I
like.
get the idea of like,
Actually, this is a little lighter, like 3 pounds, but you know, it's still too heavy for a little like familiar tentacle that, or a little tiny teacup owl to carry around.
Keto could like rat tail his moist towelette.
We're just transitioning over to our scouting group ahead. Edlin, Sars, and Penny, you proceed along down through the mists, keeping an eye out for the trail. Go ahead and let 2E roll perception checks or survival checks.
I need another pair of eyes. I'm pretty burnt out from that fight, I'll be honest.
I'll look around, see what I can see.
I got a perception, so I will roll. And that's not very good. That's a 10.
Okay.
22.
22. So Penny, you've been keeping an eye out for him. You saw some tracks a ways back, but thinking back, you realized that the tracks suddenly just vanished. There was sort of a swirling effect.
I think they
And
went
then-
back through their rope. Because the twisty, swirly bits on the ground.
And after that, there's no more tracks ahead of you.
Different or a
So
weird
they're
trick they
invisible?
used. How? Have you ever seen anything like that just dropping out of the sky?
No.
The swirly bits in the air or in the ground?
It was like the dust, basically, or the mud got kind of twisted briefly in one localized spot, and then nothing.
Oh, okay. Let's say if it was still twisted, I'll just shoot an arrow into it.
Yeah, I've never seen that before. Have you?
Well, have I ever seen anything like that before in the courts?
Arcana check. And Penny, actually, you can go ahead and roll an Arcana check as well.
All right.
That's a 3, no. I am not big on Arcana.
Mine.
I'm big on
9.
practical jokes.
Not really sure.
I'm okay with that, Donna.
It was a cool trick, but I'm guessing it was the same thing that how they got here.
Well, that stays between us, but I ran with a crew kind of similar to them a long time ago. Very brief period. Never seen anything like that before.
Interesting.
I thought we were doing something good. That's what we were being told.
Like, what were you doing? Were you stealing from just anyone who was walking by, or just the rich? Do you know why they hate Savoyans?
Well, them in particular, I can't say. I just know that I was pulled in with promises of doing the right thing, or rather doing the wrong thing for the right reasons. Turns out that wasn't the case, and the guy who was leading us was leading us astray. He told us that we were robbing Savoyans and taking from people who had too much to give to people who had not enough, and that sounded like a good plan. But he had us rob a family just traveling. I guess the point is, people get wrapped up in things sometimes, so something about that whole thing we just went through hits a little close to home.
Sorry. What happened to the guy that tricked you into it?
When I realized what exactly he was getting out of it, I lost my cool, and I tried to fight him, and that didn't go so well for me. He's a bigger guy than me and a lot stronger. So I don't go back there.
That's in the mountain?
Doma Range.
Well, if you ever feel like going back, if I'm still around, I'd be happy to go with you.
Oh, I do feel like going back at some point. Unfinished business and all that. But,
I don't mind fighting with people. If they want to start things, I'm perfectly happy. And I'm not going to try not to hurt them if they're trying to hurt me. And
well,
actions have consequences. And they took the first action, so they got the consequence.
I guess I needed some space from the camp for a minute, because I understand where Helry's coming from, but something about that just felt wrong. I've felt that rage before, and I let that overtake me, and I've also been on the other side of that coin, and I know that mercy goes a long way, and that's a hard-learned lesson for me.
Well, it was sort of strange to see Helry go after him like that. But then again, if she hadn't killed him, so he could be brought back, and so they could be brought back and have the limbs reattached.
Yeah.
If we would have just healed them, we would have left them with no arms and no life. We would have. It seems like it would have been far more cruel to leave them alive in that condition than to just kill them. And since we resurrected them, we didn't even leave them in that condition, so...
It was...
I mean, they would have had a life as a beggar if...
Yeah. I was surprised seeing her rage, because I know that she's been merciful in fighting before with the gladiator and whatnot, but yeah, seeing her bring them back makes more sense, but I guess I just don't know that same experience, but I'm glad that you feel comfortable talking and taking space when you need it.
Yeah.
And I know that sometimes when we're fighting, you get a little angry, but you always seem to come back down and know how to center yourself, and that's what's important.
Well, yeah, I wasn't always the best at that. That's part of the reason I'm out here doing this. Point is, I get how somebody could get wrapped up in fighting, and while I don't disagree that I think we did the right thing ultimately and got the best possible outcome we could have gotten from something like that, most merciful as well.
Mm-hmm.
I just worry we had to jump through a couple hoops that I worry for what's going on in Helry's mind right now, because I've seen that rage never ends up well.
Yeah.
Well, I've not known her nearly as long as either of you, but it did seem somewhat out of character. No bragging, no shouting, no boasting, just run.
Yeah.
The show was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give her some space and see if she wants to talk about. I did overhear some of the stuff she was talking to Desmond about. I was trying not to eavesdrop, but she talks so loud.
It was fascinating.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention either.
I tried to figure it out, but ears kind of big.
Mine too.
You understand.
Yeah.
You do, actually.
Huh?
So you walk for a time through the mists. Again, you start to actually see the hazy outline of the sun now through the fog above you, and you kind of detect that it seems fairly quiet out here on the moors, and eventually you turn around and make your way back towards the encampment, where Cadius and the others are beginning to pack up and prepare to leave again. Back to the encampment, was there anything else we wanted to do before, or anything else we wanted to talk about before heading on out for the short rest?
Don't think so. I think I just, complete my song and,
Okay. Cool. And anybody who wants to restore a hit die, go ahead and you can go ahead and roll your hit dice now, go ahead and take your short rest.
Yeah, I already.
Yep.
Okay. Good. Oh no, you're fine. Just want to make sure everybody got that. So,
I didn't even get my second win, so.
all right. Well, let's shove on off then.
All right. Our road ahead for a little time seems clear as can be.
For a while.
Yeah.
I think the bandits used the same trick that they used to get here to leave, so the tracks just stopped.
Yeah. I can't say I blame them for making a hasty exit.
We'll make sure to point it out when we walk by.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's a really cool design on the dirt.
Yeah, you watch them just kind of.
Yeah.
It's a dirty swirly.
And I will say, I can't do this now, but possibly tomorrow,
themselves.
if anyone wants to send them a message, I'm actually capable of doing that.
We are quite familiar with them now.
Wow. New phone, who dis?
Oh my goodness, my stars.
And with that, we are going to take a quick break, everybody. So we'll be back in 10 minutes to continue our adventure and move on towards Lake Elawir. So make sure to come on back and stay tuned. All right.
If
Yeah,
you
see you
want
in a
to
bit.
scribe, we can use the guy's hand.
Welcome back, y'all, to the stream. Where we left off, the party had just finished a short rest off on the side of the road as they were heading through the mistlands. The mist is starting to disperse slightly, and it seems that you're getting. Oh, I'm sorry. What are you doing?
We are not endorsed by pizza.
So that's fair. Yeah, big pizza.
I am. Big Pizza they gave me all their money.
That's right. The party has continued traveling through the mistlands for the remainder of the day. You start to see the soft yellow-orange glow of the sun beginning to reach the western horizon as the mist itself has almost completely dispersed now. You can look across and see the rolling hills and grasslands of Inner Relgar. Most of the pervasive wetlands have given way to more lush green fields. And ahead of you, you can see small streamers of smoke coming out of a distant village, which you would assume to be Letty's Rest, which is the small village which lies adjacent to Lake Elawir, where you're going to have to cross to get over to Bara. The remainder of the journey passes uneventfully. The slight warm breezes now coming from the east are starting to caress your skin, and you feel a real sense of kind of hominess and a sense of peace as you're no longer quite so claustrophobic in the oppressive environment that you just passed through. Eventually arriving, you see as the small township ahead of you, the road traveling on in, now fairly well defined and not quite as muddy as it was before, into a small clearing where directly ahead you can see a dock reaching far out into the glistening blue waters of Lake Eloir, which spreads about as far as you can see in both directions, both to the north and south, and far, far across, squinting faintly, you can almost see the small spires and spindles of Bara on the other side of the lake, although this requires you really have to look hard to see this. Letty's Rest itself is a very small town, quite quaint, comfortable, and you can see very easily that there is an inn off to one side, basically just adjacent to where the docks head out into the lake. There are a couple of buildings on the docks as well, and then a few small houses that have dotted around the area with look to be garden patches and small agricultural setups out there. Cadius turns to all of you. All right, well, we're through the worst of it at this point, so why don't we go ahead and head on in and find some lodging for the night, and tomorrow we'll head on out and cross the lake and head over to Bara.
Are you worried about anybody robbing your carts at night here? Or?
Not particularly. Letty's Rest is well within Bara's protection, and you do not want to piss off the gods there. I mean, worst comes to worst, they'll actually send out the Seal Gear Call. Yeah.
The what?
The Seal Gear Call. They're a band of hunters. They have the headquarters in Bara. Mostly they're about taking out monsters and collecting hides and alchemical components and all that. Swords for hire, basically. But
Best crossbows in the Cala.
yeah.
Oh, crossbows, that's boring. That's, I was just gonna say, that's how me and Cyrus met.
Interesting.
Yeah, kind of.
You were gonna go and join them too?
That was the plan. I was thinking about it.
All right, I knew Cyrus was, but I didn't remember.
Yeah.
You wanted to be boring?
I didn't know they fought with crossbows. I would have been like, peace, I'm out.
Desmond fights with crossbows
Well,
and does
plenty of
really
them
well.
plenty of them fight with swords too, but crossbows kind of. That's where I learned how to use a crossbow initially.
Wait, were you part of that?
Marksman.
I like his crossbow.
I was
I already got it.
almost part of it. I was in training.
Oh, you got farther than Cyrus. He got to the gate.
Yeah.
But we had other things to do, like drinks.
And then Fernick showed up and, well,
Oh, Manticore.
And then that guy spit on while he was walking his dog.
That was so mean.
Oh, come on, he was an asshole.
Yeah, I said he was mean.
Oh, he was mean. I thought you said I was mean.
No, I was laughing my ass off.
Making your way into Letty's Rest, you head kind of directly for the inn. Cadius has the crew take care of the horses outside and heads on inside. Does anybody else follow indoors?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And actually, so how do you feel about, I have a background trait by popular demand where I can perform and get free lodging and food.
That is a trait.
Yeah, so would that be just for me or would you allow that?
Well, it's a background feature.
Okay.
Henry's got something like that
I do.
So how far are you willing to let that free lodging go?
Depends a lot on how far you're willing to RP it.
Okay. So yeah,
Okay.
Cadius, let me go in with you. I think that I can maybe arrange us some good deals on lodging.
Yeah, all right. Sounds good. Anyone else going in?
I'll meet you all inside.
Edmund's going to take a walk around and see if we can find any of our old friends in this town.
Okay. Edlin's taking a walk. Kaz.
I'm gonna go hang out near the
go.
dock, just looking at the lake.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Cyrus,
I'm going with Idlin.
Edlin to do a walk around.
We're just
Okay.
going to see if we can find any of our recent friends hiding out in town.
Okay. Good. Penny.
I just wanted to go and dip my feet in the lake.
Heading out on the docks as well then? Sure. All right, Desmond.
The lake seems pretty nice.
All right.
Okay.
Haven't been in the lake for a while.
And sorry, Helry, were you heading into the...
Yes. I'm so sorry, but there was a thing that I forgot over the break. Did we see the part... If I understood correctly, when you guys went exploring, Did it look like they did another?
Yeah.
Oh
trick?
yes, you saw a swirl on the ground.
Oh, could I make
We're
an Arcana
going to
check?
point it out when
Sure.
we walk
In
by.
retrospect, sorry.
Yeah, no, I totally glossed over that.
More of a swirl in the air that you had mentioned, or was it actually a similar thing to where we fought them?
Going back and looking where would you have gone all the way back and looked where you fought him? You don't really know what this might be, but what were the Arcana checks?
20 total.
Okay, Kaz, you, especially with your background, are familiar with Pass Without a Trace. And in this case, the actual summoning of it creates, it's different to every person who casts it. You know, rangers do it one way, druids do it another way. However, its basic function is you can no longer, they don't leave any tracks behind them, they don't leave any traces of their presence as they move.
And so what they found wasn't signs of another rope trick, but of Pass Without a Trace.
Yes.
That was my confusion. Okay.
Yes.
You're gonna have a hard time finding any tracks now. They don't leave any.
I was going to ask about that, actually.
Garrett thought they were parked like 15 feet over the road and was gonna, that would have provoked one reaction. Not a bad reaction, I wanted to talk to them.
With weapons.
No!
Yeah, we're gonna talk, guys.
Just
That's
want to
it.
talk.
I do feel like there's a couple aspects where people do misunderstand Hillary.
No, I fully get Hillary. I just know my jokes.
After that is trait covers scent as well, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
You leave no traces.
It's really powerful.
It's
I was
wild.
just checking.
It's very, very good.
Oh, I
think
have
that
the
was-
dog skin thing on.
Nobody's gonna head to the lake.
Nobody's going to the lake as well? Okay, out on the docks. And then Desmond, what are you going to do again?
I was joining on the lake.
If nobody's
Okay.
going to the lake, what are they all doing?
Okay, cool.
If everybody else is going to lake, I'm not going into the bar alone with Katia. So it's just,
Well,
I'm going in as well.
Leoro's going.
So what's the probe count?
I will keep an eye on Newbie over here.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So Leoro and Hillary are heading inside. Good. The rest of the party is heading out on the lake. We'll go ahead and start with the lake crew since there's a lot more folks in that one. So heading out onto the lake, it is gorgeous out here. Especially in the light of the setting sun, you can look back and see the wall of mist behind you that you just traveled through. Most of it is just ignited in fiery incandescence right now in the light of the sunset. And the kind of orange to almost bluish glow of the sky is starting to sparkle and reflect off of the ever-present waves along the surface. And so you see a large gibbous moon now rising up and traveling across the sky, trailing the sun as it goes. As
Leoro's really
What?
playing up there.
yeah, what?
I didn't know he
What
had
is-
a bagpipe on.
Why does it do this?
Do you have like a playlist for it, or did you throw it into Sirenscape?
You know what happened? I think I really added this sound feature to a Sirenscape.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just gonna turn that
I can help
off.
you fix that.
It's just
They're really playing it up at the end, aren't they?
Didn't know you could do that.
Yep.
Neat.
One more feature of Sirenscape.
That's right. You can
Hashtag
edit.
not sponsored, but hashtag very loved.
It's great.
Hashtag will take a sponsorship.
That's okay. We're gonna switch to a different sound set now, but you know. Enter the haggis, by the way, if you want to know the majestic bagpipers responsible for that.
Technically sort of sponsored.
Letting us use music?
Yeah.
Loose endorsement.
Loose endorsement. Wow, boy.
Yeah. We haven't
Anyway.
passed it off yet.
The lake is beautiful.
The lake is beautiful.
pretty.
You can see out over it there are many small crafts, kind of sails up, skimming across the surface. Probably fisher crews out getting the final catch of the day. Most likely one or two barges carrying more Savoyne's goods. Along this dock, you can see that there are a number of ferries and other vessels that have been moored here. It extends pretty far out into the lake, and taking a look off the sides, you can see that the waters descend down to a very deep depth very quickly. But it's a very peaceful feeling. The sounds of water lapping on the pilings are very soothing, and looking back, you can kind of take in all of Letty's Rest, and it has this sort of quaint, restful feel to it.
I kind of let them go off and do their thing, and I'm gonna walk by myself along the water's edge.
Okay. Begin to head out along the water's edge and just kind of taking it in. You get a little bit of ways away from folks. Is anybody else? Are you trying to get away from folks like surreptitiously, or?
I'm just kind of slowly walking away. I'm not like trying to disappear entirely, and I'm not going super far, but just trying to get a little bit of distance, so I have a little bit of quietness for myself for a second.
Okay. You kind of meander off and split away and manage to find a little bit of time to breathe and kind of take in the surroundings.
Yep.
Okay. Is there anything you're looking to do out there, or as you get away?
Just kind of looking for a quiet moment, ultimately.
Okay. Good. Rest of the party out along the docks. You're sort of, Penny, you find a good spot to go and sit down and dabble your feet in the water. There are a couple little minnows that start to swim up and just nibble away at your toes as you kind of scrunch and unscrunch them in the cool lake water. Saris, take a meander around and just breathing in the lake air here.
Saris was with me wandering around the town looking for...
Oh, right. So sorry. Yeah. So we'll get to that in a second. Good. Desmond, you were also going out to the lake, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So
off comes the duster and all the goods, getting down to just my pants, and I'm gonna run and do a gainer off the dock into the water.
Okay. Nice. A couple of dock workers that are kind of meandering about, hauling crates and doing their job, kind of step out of the whoop, 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 as you just give me an acrobatics check.
Hey.
Yes. Belly flop.
18 plus 3.
Ooh, it's flawless. Gainering away, you do the flip, you tumble downwards. There's a moment of looking as if you're going to just belly flop, and at the last second you scrunch in and pencil dive straight into the water, almost without even creating a splash.
Done it 100 times.
Yeah, it's perfect. It is, it feels, it feels good. This is a place that you haven't been to in a long time, and it's like, there's something about these waters in particular that, you've swam in other lakes for sure, and then like lake water's great, but this just feels like coming home.
Yep, a little bit. Mm-hmm. Splash up out of the water, hair slicks back.
Incidentally,
Watch theme starts.
Penny, you would have seen this. Nobody, I think you probably would have seen this as well, unless you were just still in existential crisis.
Well, I'm still in existential crisis, but I'm walking down the docks because I'm trying to process it by, you'll see in a second.
Okay.
He runs past me and I'm like,
Just an epic flip ahead.
Yeah.
Neat. Nobody.
I look up as I hear a loud splash. I see Desmond do a sick flip. And I just keep walking down the dock, and I sit down on the edge of the dock, and Keto comes up near me. And I go for a swim. With Keto.
No.
And sort of zone out and go into my trance and splash into the water as an octopus.
You once again shift into this kind of world of strange indigos and blue hues as you shift into Keto's vision. You tumble down into the water, gracefully slipping below the surface and just kind of gently just taking in the sensation of this inhale of water and then this jetting propulsion sense of just, arrowing through down towards the bottom. You have this just innate instinctual desire to be on the bottom as an octopus, and you start to make your way down, and the bottom of Lake Eloir is deep. It's quite a ways away, and you kind of go down around these barnacle encrusted pilings.
Pilings.
You must
Traditional.
traditional pilings.
What? What did you say? What did you say?
Another hand.
Not enough vinegar.
Down around these barnacle encrusted piling, you settle down amongst various seaweeds and flora at the bottom of the lake. There's fish that seem to kind of drift past as well and sort of flit away upon seeing Keto and your form, and you kind of just pause down there in the stillness of it all.
Just let the water wash through my brain. Just get all that thought out of there.
Yeah,
No more thinking.
it is refreshing. You feel your brain being irrigated.
Penny is sitting back, not even looking at nobody but sitting next to him. Want to talk about it?
Nobody's just, oh.
I cannot hear it.
I know.
I'm just double checking.
That's all right.
Are you still like the slack-jawed, like...
I'm just looking at the sunset,
Like
so I'm just
full-
not really paying attention.
No, I'm wondering what nobody's like,
He's
yeah.
just like, Mom.
Yeah.
He's just sitting on the dock of the lake.
He doesn't
watching
have
us
to do
swim-
that,
swim
but
away.
But that's
just what feels right.
that's how it is. So you're sitting near this, just gazing off of the sunset. Nobody, sort of
It's all right, if you
just
just
drooling
wanna
slightly.
process. I'll be quiet then. It is beautiful though, the sunset. Sorry, I said I'd be quiet. But you know, I have gone through this sometimes where I feel like there's something that happens and it just, my whole brain just explodes and I don't know how to process it. And I do a lot of drugs, so you know, I've had but that's okay. That's probably not the solution for everyone. Yeah, silence, that's good.
Drugs are not the answer.
But if you do want to talk about it,
Or do you say that?
or do some drugs.
Don't do drugs. Don't do drugs.
Mushrooms
Like
too.
slides a mushroom into his mouth.
No.
No. Don't do that. That's bad.
Boy, this water's extra crispy.
Imagine you're there, you're ported into your octopus, and you're just sitting there, and while you're watching and experience everything through Keto's eyes, you just feel something being shoved under your
And then
Penny just feeding him some mushrooms.
and the water just fractalizes instantly.
But I do have some
Water's
painkillers.
extra crispy. You were expecting original recipe?
Oh no! This water's flavor
Regular.
This water's flavor blasted.
Speaking of drugs, I will be diving down and collecting some of the flora.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. You dive down there. Go ahead and make a nature check as you.
This one.
Yeah, you can get down there.
Oh. Wait.
12?
Yeah, you are able to find a little bit of. You're able to find a little bit of stuff. You find some. Sorry, pulling up my alchemy
stuff.
notes.
Yeah, he's down there.
I guess Keto's assisting.
Is Keto assisting?
Yeah, if I see him down there.
Okay, yeah, we'll say that like as you're sort of sitting down there amidst the weeds, you see just a six-pack fly overhead, and you notice Desmond now swimming along the bottom, kind of peering into the depths, squinting his eyes. He can't obviously see very well down here. It's pretty dark and murky, but to your octopus eyes, not hard at all. So I'll let you offer help if you want to.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, go ahead and roll at advantage.
That makes it 25.
That makes it 25. Nice. So you find a ochre anemone.
An enemy.
An ochre
A preferred anemone?
which is amla. You are also able to find 3 green thrush, which is Veryl, actually. It's the characteristic tiny bubbles that form along this long fronds of it give it away, as it actually pulls oxygen in through the water and creates an excess of it that becomes small, again, little bubbles that sort of carbonate off of it.
What was the humble one?
Ochre and enemy.
That's what I
That says Alma.
And then you find one spider eel.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's great.
Roll initiative.
It's called a spider eel due to the characteristic webbing pattern on the outside of its skin. It's kind of got these.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, no. It looks like it's covered in a spider web, basically, but it's mostly kind of these greenish pattern, these greenish blotches with, again, these sort of threads of black that connect in that sort of radiant pattern. And you know that one is a Brahm.
No legs met with 8 legs. Nightmares got some.
Well, I'm already still thinking about invisible hydras, so.
It's just like, it makes 4 legs, it's just a dog.
If anybody on the stream got that reference, I will literally send you a book in the mail for free. On the stream, Harry!
I was about to say a lot.
So,
you literally have
now's your
reference.
time to instant message us if you get that reference.
I have chat pulled up.
Make Garrett's day. All right. So you cavort around. You find quite a bit of stuff. Nobody Keto is kind of like plucking things and like lifting them up towards you. He pulls one thing up that's got like 8 different limbs and has got like these little pins.
That's horrifying. I must have it.
That is mortifying.
Give me 5 immediately.
You can add one thing of indeterminate nature to your inventory.
Is it one John?
You are letting Nolan put that in his inventory. Have you no sense?
You all want to know.
Me too.
Nature.
Oh, what are you writing there? John Carpenter's The Thing.
Of indeterminate nature.
Trust me, I'm just a normal dog.
Orf.
The solution to what is it? What theorem is that?
Oh,
We're going to go ahead and pan the camera around to the inn scene. Leoro and Helry, you both enter in following alongside Cadius. This is a 2-story inn. It's more of a traditional, very craftsman style place. It's very well constructed out of hardy timbers and looks to be quite spacious. Inside it, there are a number of customers kind of sitting at tables, nursing drinks, or just kind of tucking into dinner for the day. And off behind the counter, you can see a interesting. She's got kind of yellowish, kind of tan, scaled skin, kind of looking away from you as she's working with bottles. You can see her hands are webbed, and she is currently wearing kind of this blue. It's not really a gown, but it is like a well-crafted sort of dress, well-made. And she turns it back towards the patron. You can see a wide kind of yellowish face, these large kind of soulful eyes, and lips pulled to sort of a pucker towards the front. All right. So we ordered the barnacle beer. Yeah. All right, Derry, come on up. And you see some customers kind of heading up and getting it. As you enter into the inn. Yeah, all right. Then how are we doing today?
My good lady, my friends and my companions here would like to get a couple of rooms for tonight. And I think I can actually make it worth your while to give those rooms to us for free. You may have heard of me. My name is Leoro Telewine, and I am a performer. So I would...
Sorry, love, I haven't heard of you, but...
Well, you will after tonight. You will know me after tonight. I would like to perform for your patrons tonight, and in return, get some potentially free lodging and some food for my group.
All right, well, if you're able to put on a good show, then I say why not?
Thank you very much. I will prove my capabilities tonight.
Oh, listen, this entirely depends on how good you are at putting on a show.
Of course, of course.
I gotta just drop Cockney. I can't do Cockney and Australian in the same game. It's just not gonna happen. All right, she now has a British accent of a more classy vibe.
Oh.
More love and less bruv.
Exactly. All right, well, suppose let's hear a demonstration then.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set my drums off on a table. Kip will be standing on those to give a little bit of... I will pull out my lute and start to play.
Okay, go ahead and roll a performance check.
Okay.
You got this. Come on. That's a
Come on,
great
expertise.
Okay, 24. Not 14.
Hey!
Oh, wow. All right, cool. Immediately, you get a really rousing beat going on. Kip this is the first time y'all I think I've heard Kip doing this. Kip has got like a real good kind of like djembe thing going on where he's hitting like the edge of the drum like it went a little twangy there. Maybe a little bluegrassy, but
Like the three of us did.
Just a little bit of that backing rhythm.
Can't you see? He's the bird.
can't you hear him applaud?
So we've got fast elf and the Sassenach lizard.
But the bar immediately starts tapping along, and you see heads nodding left and right, and some folks are starting to kind of sing along a little bit to like, they're not really singing along, they're like, they think they get the lyrics right, they're like, and then they went down to something or other with a whole bunch of something and their brother.
Sweet Caroline.
So yeah, I will after the first song transition into a song that's like a really well-known one for singing to. Basically, yeah, the equivalent of Sweet Caroline.
It's one making fun of Larry and Rosewell. Yeah, it's a classic, and the entire bar just starts going nuts for it immediately.
Living on a prayer.
And at this point, I get into it. This is probably just how I spend the rest of my night, pretty much.
Well, I gotta say, you've definitely you've convinced me. My name is Mora, and if you're able to keep putting on a show like that, then I can definitely put you up. I've got a couple of cabins out back that I can rent out to you.
Thank you very much. I'll let them take care of the details.
Yeah, nice. Wow. All right, odds on just keep. That's for sure. Henry, you have anything you're adding to this whole?
Probably as he's getting set up to perform. Hey, send your cheapest bottle of whiskey over to my table. I'll be in the corner.
I'll go sit down and I will start ritual casting Detect Poison and Disease.
Okay, good. It doesn't take you long. You detect that it is poisonous, though in the fun kind of way. And Cadius, well, I'm gonna go ahead and get the crew all set up. Unless you all need anything else from me tonight.
I mean,
Ursula's right there.
Ain't but two of them there.
You look like you got something on your mind there.
Oh, tired. Got shit mixed earlier. You know, just recovering.
Hey, for what it's worth, I think you was doing just fine. Like, they attacked us. That's, you're trying to play the highwayman's lifestyle, then I'd say that they got a lot better than they deserved, to be honest. But, you know, I hear that. It's been kind of a rough road. Definitely was a bit more intense than I expected, but, y'all are something else, and, you should be proud of what you're able to do. All right? But, anyway, consider I'll be happy to work with you again.
You're all right, Cadius.
Yeah, well, I try. Best to make friends out here.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you need me and the mates are gonna be all kept up out back, so you know where to find us.
All right. I'll let everybody know when they get back.
Good, yeah. And hey, go easy on that bottle, all right? That ain't gonna make you feel better none.
On that, we strongly disagree.
Well, I mean in excess. So.
It's only one bottle.
And he strides on out. You can hear him kind of calling out to the rest of the crew to head around and join up with the throngs. You've got the bar just clapping along at this point, and there's some coins being tossed your way at this point as well. So throughout your performance, you managed to gain a total of 4 gold pieces worth of coinage.
Am I alone after he leaves?
Well, other than
After, I mean, you know, at the table.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ain't never had nothing like that happen before. And as far as I can see it, you and me, well, that's the only thing that's different. I don't want to cast aspersions or nothing, but I'm willing to do enough that I don't like being forced into more. And if that wasn't you, then I'm sorry.
And I am going to go through that bottle real fast.
Okay. You're about halfway through it when a figure sits down next to you. You look over and there is an old woman sitting down. She reaches out, takes your bottle, tosses a swig back, puts it back down on the table.
Can I make an insight check? And literally the only thing I want to know is her confidence level.
Okay.
12.
Confidence radiates off this woman. She doesn't seem to be at all concerned with taking a bottle from a, 8-foot brick shit house. And,
7'12", get it right.
excuse me,
Yeah.
7'12".
Yeah.
The more syllables make it taller.
That's true. That does extend the gravitas.
Now we have an alarm.
She takes a swig and tosses it back, and you see she's wearing a hood, though you can see a flash of red hair from the depths of her hood. She puts the bottle back and turns towards you.
You seem like you're having a hell of an evening there. Helrigel Naga.
Oh dear.
Seems like you got something on your mind.
I didn't want to stop. But I heard my friends. And I wanted to listen to them more than I wanted to keep going. But I didn't. And that's never happened to me before. And the only thing that I can think of that's different from every other time that something like this has happened is what happened my last day in Vessig. I'm not a smart girl. And I may have overlooked something. But if that's what's happening here, then we gotta talk.
Leoro, you can't help but notice that Helry's talking to herself in the corner, and you're starting to feel like the bottle might be getting to her.
Okay. Thank you, folks. Thank you so much. I will be back in just a few minutes. I need to take care of one brief thing, and I'm going to go set the loot aside, or put the loot away, and go talk to Helry.
Okay. You instinctively walk towards Helry's left.
Okay.
About the right just isn't... Nah, chair doesn't right. And you sit down. Helry, you have the rather disconcerting sensation of having this hooded, cloaked woman sitting to your right, sort of staring towards you across to your left, and Leoro Telewine sitting to your left, looking towards you, apparently completely unable to notice this hooded woman directly across from him. However, she does take a look over, she glances his way, and you can see a smile stretching across her face, and for a moment you see a flash of pointed teeth from within her lips before they close back up again.
Not bad up there. I'll join you for a duet later.
That would be great. But I have to say, Hillary, you seem troubled.
Is that what I seem like?
Yes, more than a bit. And I've noticed you're already about 2/3 of the way through that bottle, and it's been about 10 minutes.
Yeah, you want some?
Sure.
That's my boy.
I'll take a swig and set it back down. So, look, that was admittedly a lot. I've not known you for long. I literally have known you for about less than 15 hours now. So I don't have too much to go off of, but it did seem you had a bit of a conflict of feelings in that fight. Considering it cost you 300 gold diamond just to take that slice, that was a rather costly change of heart. And is there something you'd like to talk about? I know, again, I don't know you that well, but I know a lot of stories, and I might be able to give some thoughts.
Money ain't nothing to me. I could die tomorrow. I've been ready to die tomorrow for a long time, and best case scenario, I ain't even gonna live half as long as pretty much anyone else we walking with. But, a while ago I met this lady. What?
Goliath.
How long is Goliath?
60 years? Up until they die, which usually comes from trying too hard.
Yeah, but like, isn't your old age like?
Well, they're about human life length, aren't they?
They don't like to live to old age.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying biologically, orcs' rules as written is like 40.
Yeah, they don't live long. Aarakocras are like the only ones that are shorter lived.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, a while ago I met this lady. I thought she was a lady.
A lady, eh? Well, that's sure flattering.
No amount of salt baths will rinse that up.
She was something else. She was just about she did things. Not physically, but inside. My mind, that just, I ain't never felt that way about nobody before or since. And, well, anyway, she's why I can do what I do. And I don't know how any of it works. But when the time comes, I know exactly what to do. And it's made me better. It's made me safer. It's helped me save other people. It's all good. But today, in that fight, I wasn't in control of myself.
And I'm gonna look like I'm staring into the distance, like I was talking to Leoro, but then I look like I'm staring into the distance, but I'm meeting her eyes, and I say, and the one thing I will not tolerate is my head being fucked with, and my choice being taken away from me. But I don't know why it happened. The only thing I can think of that's different from my whole life to the last month is her. And I want to believe that that's not why that happened. But I cannot think of anything else that's changed. And it's because I don't know that I'm having a problem with it.
The cloaked figure reaches a hand towards your face and brushes cold fingers along your cheek.
Love, it's 'cause you don't respect me. That's the real issue here. You think you understand what I do and what my motivations are. But here's the thing. I never made you do shit back there. what happened here is that you thought you knew me, you thought I was on your side. You thought I was, I suppose, just a part of your legacy. But you stepped into my world and you didn't fully understand the rules. And you took that, which maybe you should have been a little more wary of. And Leoro, you watch as across Helry's cheeks, these thin lines, these 3 thin lines of blood begin to bubble up out of very thin scratches along her cheeks. Now here's the deal. I love you, Helry Gelnaga. You are special to me and you're my champion. And to you, I'm going to be offering special favor. As you've already noticed, I helped you bring them back to life. What you regretted killing, that's not really in my wheelhouse, you understand. I don't care for mercy. I don't care for reversing justice that's been dealt. But for you, I'm willing to let that happen. But recognize who I am. Recognize that when you work with me and when you deal with me, you're not dealing with just a benefactor. You're dealing with war, and you're dealing with death. And she gets up and she turns and walks away out of the inn. Leora, you see, you're kind of watching again this kind of just trail of blood slowly beginning to run down Helry's face.
Helry, are you okay? I see something there. It seems you have a very complicated story.
Slap him on the back, probably knock him out of his chair.
Like a cuckoo.
Helry Gelnaga, I have to say, based on what I have seen so far, you may not think you will live that long, but I can assure you that you will live far, far longer than you think. These books will ensure that.
Well, all right. Hell, newbie. I'm great. How about that duet? I feel like playing the pipes.
Sounds good. And yeah, we'll go up there. And for this performance, after we perform, I want to infuse it with a little bit of fey magic at the end and do an enthralling performance on whoever the 4 most excited people seem to be. I basically want them spreading the word of Clan Destiny a little bit.
Leoro, as you are going back into your pouch to pull out your pick again, your hand touches a soft material, and you pull out a crow's feather quill pen.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. Slipped that into your pack when you wasn't looking. Thought you might like it.
I'm gonna pull out a fresh book. Her name was Helry Gelnaga.
It flows.
Cool.
Like up the top of his esophagus.
For those of you who are wandering around Quain now, looking,
Where?
sorry. Anyway, excuse me. Letty's Rest. I'm.
Where are we now?
I am flashing backwards here. Yeah.
How did we get here?
Yeah. How did we get here? Oh
My wallet.
no. So we had Edlin looking around, I believe,
And Saris.
Saris taking a look around town, and you're specifically looking for your recent acquaintances, right?
Yes.
Just to
Okay.
see if they're somewhere in town or word of them is somewhere in town.
Okay.
I'm looking for apothecaries, medical establishments, places where they might have gone to get patched up because we jacked them up.
Okay. Go ahead and roll an investigation check. And I'll let Saris assist in this.
Okay.
If you want to roll if you want to do a help action or roll your own, which will be at disadvantage because you have a level.
Exactly. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm rolling at disadvantage because of that. Because I took my super rage. Yeah, I'll go ahead and help out with that.
I got 18 plus 0, so 18.
Yeah. Investigation's not gonna be great.
18?
For me.
Yeah, I got 18. Wow. I'm not an investigator. I'm a
3.
Okay. You're basically along for the ride on this one. It's very pretty and you're very tired. However, Edlin, you are able to kind of dropping a few key questions, shifting in and doing a little sniffing about, and generally looking for, specifically like, just seeing if anybody came through town recently or whatnot. Eventually, you are drawn towards a house on the far exterior of town. It is a small cottage next to a fairly spacious garden that's been well kept, filled with garden vegetables, peppers, fruits, tomatoes, a lot of just good wholesome foodstuffs that are growing out back, along with an extensive selection of herbs. You are drawn here through just sort of a mention that old lady Gora is she's often been seen entertaining visitors and guests that don't tend to go into town.
Okay. Then I shall go up. Actually, I shall shift into ferret form and listen very carefully and sneak up on the door.
Okay. As you approach, go ahead and roll a perception check and a stealth check. Saris, you're also walking up and you see him shift into his ferret form.
I just look at them and just be like,
That's a 20 for stealth and perception 15.
Okay.
I look at Edlin as they shift down and just go like, what you got in mind over there? I just
You kinda
look around surreptitiously and just be like, is there anybody kind of thing? Is there anybody like watching?
You're a little ways away from town. There's nobody in particular that's watching that you can see. Go ahead and roll a perception check super quick.
It's a 15.
3
Advantage on
plus
perception and control.
5.
3 plus 5. Okay. You take a look around. Coast is clear.
That's looking good.
Edlin, you approach the door and using your ferret's smell and listening closely, you don't really hear or notice anything in particular. There's no voices coming from within. You kind of scuttle up and look in the window very carefully, and you see a looks to be a shawled figure sitting in a chair next to her fireplace, just kind of rocking gently back and forth on a chair.
Okay, I will go back to the doorstep, shift back into Edlin's form, and knock on the door.
Okay. Saris, you also see this.
Oh, someone there? Who?
Okay.
Is it one of them?
There's a knock on the door and then a faint shuffling of feet. And at first you kind of jump back slightly as the figure, well, actually I don't think Edlin you would. Saris, you might be a little taken aback.
Yeah.
The woman who answers the door, the shawl fails to hide as she looks out these large snaggle-toothed, sharp-toothed jaw and these slitted yellowed eyes that look out at you.
Excuse me. Hello, what can I do for you?
Hello, I was told that you sometimes entertain strangers in these parts, and I was wondering, do you sell any of these crops? It looks like you have quite a nice garden here.
Of course. My home is a refuge for all that may come through here. I sell the crops as a means of supporting myself and feeding myself, of course. And ideally feeding a few travelers along the way. Would you like something to eat?
Well, can't but notice that those tomatoes look awfully fresh. I'd be happy to take some of those with me. What's your asking price for them?
Oh, well, if you want to purchase some to go, 2 copper each.
All right. Well, take about 5 of those, and I'll hand over a silver. And I'll look at Edlin and and then just sort of make my way back out.
Anyway, we ran into some people earlier today that then we sort of lost contact with them, but I just wanted to, they're not the type to actually stay at the inn, I don't think, but I wanted to give them this, and I'm going to hand her an envelope with, what's his name? Renian's name on it. If you happen to run across this person, could you see that they get this envelope?
Are you friends?
Not exactly.
I
And
see.
inside it, there's a gold piece wrapped around a note that says, "Better luck next time."
She takes it.
If I see this individual, I will be certain to pass it along.
One for your trouble. Thank you very much. And I'll
Oh,
give her
I
a gold piece
could
as well.
not accept that. That's far too much.
Oh, you can. Feed the next hungry person who doesn't have any money.
All right.
She takes the coin and tucks it away into her robes.
Have a good evening, Mum. And I'll turn around and walk away.
All right. Well, you all take care now. Have a wonderful stay in Letty's Rest.
Yours well. And I walk away with my armful of tomatoes.
They are nice looking tomatoes, incidentally.
That's a nice tomato you got there.
Nice man.
Those are nice tomatoes. Mm-hmm.
Good tomatoes
I'm
back in
quite
the fall.
hungry.
Those are some nice tomatoes.
But I don't have any money.
How much did I spend on the cheapest bottle of whiskey, just before I forget?
Cheapest bottles is 5 silver.
I mean, honestly, I was food and
It's cheap
lodging.
whiskey. This is like it burns.
And I think it
Oh,
was
I'm down.
food and lodging for our stay, so probably free whiskey, maybe? I don't know.
Not quite free.
Okay.
room-
I never let
drinks,
anybody,
but room and board, yes.
Okay.
I
Drinks,
never let
though,
anybody pay for my drinks.
drinks are not always included.
Yeah.
Unless a particularly extraordinary display, maybe a combo or something. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway,
I never
the
lets
sun-
anybody pay for their drinks.
the sun. Again, the kind of whirling, the swirl of light of the sun dips down below the western sky, settling down to once more freeze in the great elemental plane of Moon, and you see the pinpricks of stars beginning to dot the sky. Stories of old gods and elementals that have been vitrified and lost to the eons, that have drifted up and been fixed in place in the great sprawl above you, kind of drift into your minds. And the town quiets down, people return to their homes, and the water grows cold and dark for those who are out on the docks.
And as we head back to the inn, I will explain to Soros what I did.
Okay. Because I was literally being like, well,
and tell you, she seems to entertain the the more shy elements of society to pass through. So I thought maybe we would just leave a message for our recent acquaintance, just in case, because...
Oh, I see. I was honestly confused. I thought you wanted to do some shopping and... What do you want, a tomato?
I would actually love one once we get back to the inn.
Sounds
Those look
perfect.
amazing.
Because I think I got enough for everybody. I might take 2, but I think I got enough for everybody.
You got 5, right?
Yeah, 5.
5. Okay.
We got to go back.
Counting. Not really.
Negative intelligence, we're working with the people.
Working with what the Tuatha gave us.
Well, I have yeah, my strength is where my biggest... my biggest weakness is my strength.
My strength is my weakness.
All right. For those of you who are out on the docks, what are you doing at this point as the sun sets and darkness descends? Kaz, you as well. You're kind of far away off in your own space. We'll get to that in just 1 second here, if you had anything else to do there or not. But
Mostly just kind of hanging out, and if people in the chat, and just kind of keep an eye on things mostly.
okay, good. Okay.
And that's why I had to leave my village. You're such a good listener, nobody. I really appreciate that.
Nobody the whole time just...
I know, right?
It's too good. Oh.
Pop up out of the water.
Oh.
that way too.
I feel much better.
I'm glad. I do too. Yeah, thanks.
That's good.
Here, hold my eel.
That's a thing of indeterminate.
What is this little cute thing? It's cute in its own way.
It's got like one little like praying mantis claw thing off to one side. It looks like a little pincer, like crab pincer. It's got like 2 legs on one side, 3 legs on the other, and the rest of it just looks like a sea urchin.
And then we see the oils dripping into the lake.
I feel the need to kill something, but I do not know what or when.
It's been said that the Tuatha do not make mistakes, but however...
It wasn't, didn't Kaz come out here with us?
Yeah, I think he's doing a lap around the. Oh, I guess going all the way around would bring him to Bara. Probably can't go all the way around. He's probably turning around soon to come back. It's getting dark.
Kaz entering another city. Guys?
How did I get?
Nobody told
Oh,
me.
hey, what brings you over here? Oh, I'm in the wrong area.
You got to Canada?
I got to Canada somehow.
That's a whole Cala over.
Oh, Cala over.
Maple syrup sounds good though.
Hate to say it, bud, but you might be in the wrong
Here
place.
down the shoreline, is he within sight?
I'm maybe like 50 yards down the beach away from y'all.
Oh, okay.
You can see Kaz kind of sitting off. There's a couple stumps and logs a ways down.
I'm like, I have a book in my hand and you see me like casting some spells, so.
All right. Well, I think I'm all done here. I've collected all the stuff I need. Should we go get him? Or?
Yeah, I think I'll try to wave it. Yeah, he's pretty distracted. Okay, maybe we should go get him.
All right. Well, put this with my stuff. I'll swing over there.
Right here.
There.
Okay.
Studying, keeping as a pet, cooking for later, we don't know yet.
No, I'm still holding on to this one. This one's.
Well, we have it, just in case.
I'll pinch back.
Okay. Yeah. Honestly, it kind of like it's like
It's as close to purring as it can get.
it seemed. Yeah. Just sort of bubbles in a.
Or does it be water?
No. It's like it's just kind of. There's just like little bubbles popping out of its mouth, but in a very rhythmic, contented fashion.
It's purring. I'll take it.
Yep.
Oh, it's gonna make such good soup.
Oh no.
Your mouth.
You dive into the water and just start freestyling over.
Start swimming over. That way he hears me coming at least. You know, with the splashing of the water.
I do look over and notice it, and I kind of close my book and let the magic go.
All right.
Can't help but notice, but he is good at swimming. It's like a fish.
Uh-oh.
I mean,
All right.
You know, you should probably teach me how to swim one of these days.
Oh, you don't actually know how?
A little bit, but not that well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, anytime you like. And of course, we buy a large enough body of water, we could actually do it. I suppose that's kind of a limiting factor. Whenever you want. Otherwise.
Yeah, of course.
Well, I think we're going to head over to meet up with the rest of them. Are you coming with, or are you staying out here for a little bit?
Yeah, I think I'm ready to go inside.
Okay. You feeling all right? I mean, I feel like maybe something's weighing on you, or you just wanting solitude?
A little of A, a little of B. Just kind of dealing with my own stuff at the moment. Feel kind of guilty about today, but not too bad, I guess.
Well, I don't know what you should feel guilty about. I mean, when it comes down to it, you were protecting yourself, and it's. I guess I had a conversation with Hillary, and it's not necessarily the killing that bugs me. It's how it's done, I suppose. And you know, I can't fault somebody for defending themselves as much as they could. Yeah, I don't know if that's comforting or not, but.
You know, this is only the second time now I've actually killed an intelligent person in a human, or whatever I guess you would call it. You know, I've killed creatures before, yeah, but not really killed something that talks too much in my lifetime.
It's heavy. I remember the first time I watched something die, Killed. I had some fault, I suppose. The responsibility there, I didn't have a whole lot of time to think about it at the moment because I was being chased away, but I had plenty of time to think about it afterwards, and that, I definitely overthought it for sure. That's something that causes its own problems, but I think you'll be all right in the long run. Ultimately, I don't know. You're welcome to talk to me as much as you like about it. I don't know if I can really be that much help, but I think that you hold a bit of a special place for me. I think that your knowledge of the arcane is definitely interesting to me in a way that not everybody can understand, I suppose. And my miscellaneous practices with arcane is really just opening the door and peering in, and I think you've dived already well into it. You're the swimmer in that ocean, I suppose. And I admire that quite a bit.
Well, I greatly appreciate that. I just know for myself, the arcane wasn't really something that I dove into more. I was thrown into, and it's I'm understanding it more and more, and I've studied it a bit. Still trying to understand more over of what I can do and what I should do with it. Personally, I think blowing the top half of a tiefling is a little rough, but
it's a very disturbing image.
I wish I could say it's the first time I've seen stuff like that, though. So, just the first time I've been on this side doing the damage.
Well, like I said, the intent behind things is what really matters most, and I think protecting yourself and those around you that you care about is one of the most honourable intents ever. I think you purchased some flowers at a very extravagant price at the shop in Avonlock, was it?
Yes.
Was it Avonlock or was it Quain?
I think it was Quain.
Yeah.
Quain.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had said then that I was curious about how interested the shopkeep was in making a deal. And what I found out there was that they weren't really that interested in making a deal. They were interested in exploiting us for coin. And that's not how you get return customers. And everything I've seen from you makes me a return customer.
I appreciate that. I really do.
Good.
And to be fair, I think your control of the arcane is quite well studied, honestly.
I'll just mess around.
Not much different from what I'm doing, to be honest.
All right. Well, I suppose we're cut from the same cloth, as it were.
I hope for your sake not.
Okay. I'll have to mull that one around for a little bit. I'm not quite sure what that means, but
it's okay. I think I'm ready to go inside and get something to eat.
Yeah, I'm quite hungry myself. I'm gonna get my clothes though.
Yeah, I did notice you're good. You work out, I guess, a lot.
No.
Is the water cold, or you? Never mind.
He's wearing pants.
I am wearing pants.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, let's meet up with the rest of the group and let's get a bite to eat.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Definitely.
All right, you start to make your way back to the center of town towards the inn. The rest of you all kind of convene there. The Aura and Helry, you both watch as the rest of the party kind of filters in little by little. They're not all just one big group. It's kind of it's sort of progressive. And of course, the innkeeper greets them as they all come in and realizes you're all part of the same group. Oh well, I agreed to putting a lot of people up. All right, well, that's probably should have checked that fine print, but all right, that's fine. We've got plenty of cabins. It's definitely not going to be a problem. Anyway, welcome, and can I get you all anything to eat, by the way?
Yes.
Excellent. Well,
think we're all a bit peckish.
All right. Well, I will
I
say
also
I've
have
got-
another bottle of whiskey if anybody would like to partake.
I'll share some whiskey with you.
Yeah, of course you will. You want some of the...
Pastries.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. I have pastries. We have a seaweed scone. It is a bit of a local favorite. We essentially we grind down some water weed and add sugar to it, of course. A little bit of honey, some cardamom, and ends up with a lovely sort of slightly pungent, but quite delightful.
I would love some of that. Do you have any dried fish by chance?
Oh, of course we do. What kind?
Something freshwater, since I'm more used to the salt varieties lately.
Oh, certainly. Trout?
I'll try it.
All right. Trout and seaweed scone. Perfect. I'll get that going for you. Unfortunately, for your friend has secured you some food and lodging for the night. So you can thank him. Leora, you've kind of gotten back to playing still.
Yep. Give a bow over hearing that towards the innkeeper.
Okay.
Do I owe you something? Since I'm not having the ordinary fare, do I owe you something extra?
It's Kit.
This is a little outside the ordinary, so this will run you 3 silver pieces.
Certainly.
Nothing too terrible.
I'll give them to her.
All right, and I do also have another local delicacy, eel cake. Now, I know it, for those who don't live here, it's a little outside perhaps your purview. However, essentially, an eel cake, it's of course gutted and boiled, then stuffed with fragrant herbs, oats, and dried fruit, coiled back upon itself, and then baked with a layer of breading and further spices, of course.
Of the sea or of the river?
Of the lake.
Ah.
Yeah, the lake eels, well, we caught one, actually.
This?
You can eat it. Yeah.
No!
Don't eat that. Oh God. I don't know what that is.
Which one are you holding?
The one you don't know what it is?
Oh, that's not the eel. No.
Okay.
Oh, this is the eel.
Oh, don't eat that either. That's not one you'll. I suppose. I hope you know how to process that.
No.
No, we use the giant eels, gray eels from the closer towards the center of the lake. They're more free swimming and are much better eating than that. Don't just eat that, please.
You can eat it. It's just not very good. But I'll take whatever's fresh out of the lake with lemon and pepper.
What's that? I'm sorry?
I'll take whatever's fresh out of the lake with lemon and pepper.
Perfect. Trout.
Trout sounds good.
All
Delicious.
right. Good. She get that going. Anybody else? Trout is, of course, on the standard fare. We have quite an abundance of that, and
Honestly, I'll go for some of that.
perfect.
That's a special. That sounds delightful.
Well, no, not the special. The special is the eel cake, but
I'll
that's-
take that.
All right.
I'll try that as well.
All right. 5 silver. 5 silver.
I will try one.
All right. 5 silver.
Go ahead.
Hold up, I'll have another one.
All right.
Party funds will cover food.
Oh, all right.
I will take one as well, please.
All right.
Oh, I've already taken myself.
I wrap up my performance and take a bow. And, yeah.
All right. There's a rousing round of applause from across the inn. People seem very pleased.
And yeah, so up to you if you want people to make any wisdom saves on the enthralling performance. Basically to be extra into it and actually spread the word about playing Destiny.
You can choose up to 3, I believe.
4?
4?
It's based on your charisma modifier.
Yeah,
Oh,
four,
sure.
4 creatures. So, and it's a...
All right. Are you trying?
15.
Okay. Fail. Success.
We're fighting the bar.
Fail.
I was about to say, are we fighting the bar?
So 2 people just have gotten up and are just fawning over you. There's this little old man with a cane.
Man, you are just the best thing that's happened in this town since I don't know when. Since sales was invented, that's what. Oh my goodness, you got talent, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Oh my goodness. Well, you know, I'm Remy, and you need anything, you just call, all right?
Good to know. Thank you, Remy. I will keep your services in mind.
All right, that's very good. Can I sit with you?
Actually,
That's awful nice of you. Thank you very much.
spread
That's
the word about
great.
this. We need more traffic to this inn. It's such a great place. Why won't you go spread the word and let people know that they can come see Clan Destinie in person?
I'm going to Visick.
And he just like trumps.
It lasts an hour, so we won't get too far.
Yeah, he trumps out. He trumps out of the end, little king.
Yeah, we're the best thing I
That's your
ever
kill.
did
Gonna
see.
walk into bed and just keep walking.
Welcome to the kill party.
And then, and you also have a
Just walk out
looks
in
to
the
be
woods.
a half elf woman who's also kind of like staring at you from across the bar.
This is a great idea.
Sort of like rubbing her chin, and she seems to like be keeping her eye on you, but not necessarily approaching you. She seems a little shy.
Okay. Cool. Well, yeah, I noticed her. Don't do anything for now, and I'll just, join the party to have an eel cake.
Okay, good. You all lock down the long table. There's just kind of a big communal table towards the center of the bar, and you all kind of take your places around it. And before long, these steaming platters are placed in front of you. These are big eels. Like, I mean, solidly, if you were to uncoil one, they probably are about like, 4 to 5 feet long.
This is like almost longer than I am.
They're big. But it's hard to tell exactly because the entire thing is encased in this just golden crust of breading. There's a very fragrant scent of kind of rosemary and sage kind of oregano emanating off of it. And as you cut into it, immediately just this jet of steam just pours out of the incision in it. And you can see inside, true to form, the eel itself, the eel meat is tender, flaky, just pulls apart like nothing. And there is kind of like a combination of, oats and fruit and whatnot within the eel, all together creating a very nice, actually quite similar to what Edwin likes to eat, fish and pastry sort of combination effect.
And I'm cutting my scones open and piling up dried fish. And
Perfect.
Cyrus is holding the head of his eel in one hand and the tail in the other and going, which end do I start with?
If you found a lady you could lady and transit,
What does that mean?
it's this thing that I heard. I don't know who invented it, but
I would do that with you, Leora. The half elf like stumbles away and
That was
beat red.
interesting. Okay.
what she say?
Nothing. You hear from the next room over.
I think I have a fan.
Admirers.
can I borrow it? It's sort of hot in here.
Just to win. I can be a fan too.
It's real cute when they get so flustered they can't even talk. I like that.
It's true, yes. It happens so frequently. I'm kind of just used to it by now.
Insight check.
I would also like to insight.
I believe him.
I got a 20.
You don't believe? Well, actually,
I mean, honestly, probably
he's-
not.
He's a good looking.
All I know is if he believes it.
He's a good looking elf, and he believes it. I think.
Yeah, I think so. Like, that was
I got a
straight
2.
up just what I do. Is maybe not like wooing the ladies in every
I got
town,
a
but
6.
very much get a lot of
Have a
fans.
+4.
You gather fans. You're good at your job.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is kind of your first indicator of like, oh, okay, he has got an effect on folks.
By the way, drinks are on me tonight, just so everybody knows.
I went ahead and paid for the food, so I gave her 5 gold. You were saying like 5 silver a plate, so
Yeah.
I figured a gold tip
You're
should
good there.
everything.
Thanks
So.
for everybody.
Well, that'll cover the first round as well.
But for the food, anyhow. Yes.
And if you guys want to eat, like have some of mine, because I only need like even a fifth of this is a foot. I don't need that much food. I need like 1/10 of this. So I know some of you guys
Sorry.
like to eat a lot of foods.
Cyrus already halfway through his eel just kind of goes, Eric, take care of that for me.
I feel like I might have to buy this.
Which for the record, I'm starting from the tail.
You're just like noodling this thing.
I also slice about this much off of it and just kind of put it on a plate for Kip to peck at.
Aww.
I would say starting from the tail is actually the right way to go, and then finish off with the cheeks. They're quite delicate.
That tracks actually.
I know they got these big eels, but when you guys were out down by the docks, did you happen to see if there were any flukes in the water? And if so, did they serve it by the foot?
I hate you.
This
Take
is a fluke.
all of the psychic damage.
I love it.
Fluke by the foot.
Hey,
Is that anything like a
don't feel
snack?
like they're
I used to go hunting those back in my village.
We called something else snacks back in the day.
Oof.
I took some flukes and rolled them up into a little spiral.
Oh, fluke roll up.
Yeah,
I'm going to
That's a
stab
good
them
idea.
both. I'm going to stab them both.
Perfect. To do
Just
it,
made
I
right.
encourage
Fluke's
this.
not as long as they were when
You
we
get
were
advantage
kids.
on hitting them.
I feel like that's a thing.
The first roll was a nat 20.
Everyone dies.
Curse you, son.
As your food, as you're tucking into your food, the innkeeper. If you need anything, just holler and throw stuff, and I'll be right back. I'll be stepping out for a short time.
So a 22
And she
and a
picks up what looks to be a
27.
quarterstaff and heads out the door.
Is there only one innkeeper?
There's only one innkeeper right now.
Is the
But
bar
the bar is not empty. There are other patrons around, and looks to be plenty of folks who are regulars. And
The other staff?
you get the feeling that this is something. Everyone kind of nods to her, and you hear whispered, "Hey, good luck." Not that you need it, good luck.
Before you go, a pitcher of wine and a pitcher of water and a glass.
Certainly.
That's on my tab.
She hustles back and gets you the jugs of wine and water. Unfortunately, my other staff is out for the night. Came down with a bad stomach bug. So, I'll be down by the lake if you need anything or if anything untoward happens or what have you.
are you getting more eels?
No, but I'll be back in about an hour.
All right.
Well, I don't know about y'all, but tonight I feel like celebrating. I can, with some degree of certainty, promise all of you that what happened today is not going to happen again. And furthermore, the woman I love, the only person I have ever loved, says she loves me.
Aww.
And I am happy about it.
Like, did she?
That does stand for celebration.
Yeah.
Where is she?
She had to step out.
Oh, all right. You got a little something on your feet there. You scuff yourself?
Oh yeah, no, that's all right. Just a little something.
What's that?
Feel
I
that?
suppose I should have a drink and I'll throw something.
There's a big clatter. Moro reappears. I've never actually had someone take me literally on that. But I did say so. So what can I get you?
Can I get I'll stub my toe on something when I was walking around in the dark, but it actually turned out to be something I've been looking for months, and I just now recently found it, so it's kind of a good thing.
That sounds really good.
On the rocks.
Can I get one of those?
Of course it's on the rocks.
How do you think he stubbed his toe?
He's been looking for that rock for
He hands
months.
you a pilsner.
Nice. On the rocks.
On the rocks.
That'll do.
Do you have any straws to go with that pilsner on the rocks?
I want an umbrella.
No single-use.
Look, Jeremy, and she looks towards another Triton that's over towards one wall. Looks to be nursing a small glass of whiskey. Yeah, what can I do more?
That's the real pint size.
Would you mind watching the bar for me? It's nothing too. Well, I won't be gone long, and I'll pay you good for it. All right? Sure. Do I get shifty? Sure. All right. All right, y'all. Well, anybody that wants more, you can feel free to come to me. And he gets up, and he looks to be kind of like a red, he's got a real deep red scales kind of going back, and this sort of fin going down the center of his head. And it's kind of got these sharp teeth, like they're small mouth, sharp teeth kind of deal. Mora, well, all right, you heard him. If anybody needs anything, feel free to go to Jeremy.
It's Prince Sidon.
So throwing things is no longer.
Yeah, please don't actually do that. It's more of a joke.
That's fine then.
No, my fault. Everyone's different. Some folks are more literal than others. You should see the Carrick visitors we get.
I've been to Carrick. They're an interesting bunch.
Yes, very, very literal.
I have, yeah.
I'm from just west of Carrick.
Probably for the best.
I don't know if I've been west of Carrick. Maybe I have. Which, whereabouts then?
Well, there's like about 500 big oak trees around there, and then some of the oak trees start growing into like little huts and houses, and some of them are multi-storied. And we don't have a name for it. It's just home.
I saw a lot of oak trees on my travels.
Yeah, so you may have been pretty close to my house.
Probably then. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of Carrick. Seems like a nice place.
Yeah, you're from there, aren't you?
No. I'm from the Dormer Range. Just up there in the high peaks.
Okay.
But I hear Carrick has somewhat decent coffee. Kind of wasteful though.
I
They
didn't
were
have
kind
the
of
coffee.
snooty.
Boy howdy. Man, that one took a second. Yep.
Apologize.
I did not stab Ceres.
Everyone dies.
I did not
That's
stab
it.
him. I withstood the psychic damage and did not stab him.
Oh, very good. Nice. That's impressive. That was a high DC.
Yeah.
Took me longer to
Wow.
get that joke than it did to brew
Boy.
coffee and Carrick.
I'm looking to slip outside
Bravo.
and ferret down and wait for the Titan to come out and follow her.
Okay.
Just because I think she may be doing something interesting, but I'm not sure, but I'm curious.
So you wait for a time, and Mora reappears after handing the reins off to Jeremy, and she tromps off back down towards the water, which again is literally almost just right behind the inn. It's not far off at all. And you can see a little ways down the line, down the coast, there are a number of Tritons who are all kind of squared off with one another, most of whom are standing in the shallows. However, they're making sort of a semicircle around a pair that are currently locked quarterstaff to quarterstaff. One swiftly pushes the quarterstaff out of the way, there grapples them and tosses him out of the surf up onto land. And Mora lets loose a cheer as she walks back in. Everyone kind of turns and greets her, clapping heartily. And another two of the Tritons then enter the shallows and square off with
Okay,
one
I'm gonna
another.
go back in the inn.
Okay.
I just wanted to see if she was going to sneak down and take care of some people.
Nope.
I'm looking for them. I'm going to find them.
Somewhere.
And I will write another note saying, better luck next time, with a gold, wrapped around a gold piece in an envelope, with his name on it, that I will leave at the inn.
Okay.
They walk away with 10
Sign.
gold eventually.
Signed.
Tons of money just by existing.
All right. Sounds good. You
Really
just leave it
want
on
us
the
to try
bar,
it again
or you leave it with Jeremy.
I'll just go back inside.
next time.
Okay. Good.
Guys, I think we got a
Brenya at the door and go back inside.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So the evening begins to wind down. Penny, do you have something there?
Oh, I was just gonna ask Desmond. I think you mentioned when we took off that maybe you were from not Bara but around Bara. So are you from how close are you to home?
My folks had a couple shops. I say a couple because it was two separate ones, and then it merged into one shop in Bara. So I spent quite a bit of time around this area, and this If there was a place that I could call my home, I suppose this would be it, but I don't really know that it is that way so much.
Are you gonna want to visit your parents when we go into town?
I don't think they're in town.
Oh, all right.
One is definitely not. And the other one is definitely outside of town. But I could only say by a few hundred yards.
Well, okay, well, do you want to visit them? I mean, or at least if the one that's real close to town, if we're right there.
Well, he kind of went off into the lemon grove. I don't know where he went.
The lemon grove?
Do you smoke lemon groves?
No, you
Went out for a pack of lemon groves and never came back?
you found them? That's a really weird statement. He had a hard time with some events that took place, and I think if you mention the names, people would know who they were, but I don't think anybody knows where Artemis is.
Like he's
what
missing?
is-
Do you need help looking?
Artemis, Artemis was my father.
Okay. You're speaking kind of cryptically, or I'm just have had more whiskey with. Maybe there was more cockatrice venom in here than I expected. I'm not quite following you, but okay.
Not intentionally cryptic, I just don't actually know where he went.
Okay.
And I don't think anybody else does either,
Well, should we-
except if he's still alive, he might know.
All right. Well, if
Probably.
you want
I
to
like this
describe
one.
him and we can keep our eyes out for him, or if you don't want to, then I can just stop talking about it.
I think it might be best that if we run into him, we say hi, but well, I don't know that I should spend a whole lot of time looking for him. I think he was intended to not be found.
All right. Well, any
Well, that's
argument-
actually got some deeper meaning with me that I probably have to spend some time contemplating.
I'm sorry. Well, if I meet an Artemis, I'll say hi, and then I won't spend too much time hanging around.
Yeah. We could go to there is a gravestone for my mother.
Oh, I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, if you want to, or if you don't, whatever you're comfortable with. I just thought you mentioned you were from around here, so thought you might want to say hi to the family or whatever.
Yeah, a few of the other people had asked about it before, and it's probably best if I don't actually let anybody know who I am. They probably could recognize me, but
Will they recognize the mask?
no, they wouldn't recognize the mask.
All right.
Especially not with these tassels on it. It's quite scary.
Desmond, not to pry too deep into things that may not be my business. Are you wanted for something? Are you
Not in Bara.
not in Bara? Are you wanted elsewhere by authoritative figures?
It depends on how interested they are in finding me, I guess. They could have very much forgotten about me by this time. Not really authority figures so much as the whole town.
Oh, the entire town.
Yeah, and actually, probably a lot of the other towns on the way to that town. It's Kerry that I'm talking about, by the way. They probably wouldn't be very happy to see me either because of, well, basically because of my brother.
And once again, none of my business. Why?
He was a jerk.
Fair point.
That's putting it lightly, and you tend to be considered a jerk when you hang around with jerks.
My sister was a jerk. Nobody knows all about that, though. Yeah, he gets it.
Yes.
But not a huge jerk. Just like a little bit of a jerk.
I was actually really confused by the way you phrased that. Did you mean nobody?
Oh,
or did you mean-
yeah. We had a great talk earlier.
Okay.
I already vented for a while, so I don't need to go into details again.
Well, I'm glad you had a nice discussion.
These faces.
If we come to an area that you should probably be not seeing, do you mind just giving us a heads up beforehand?
I'll probably just keep my mask on.
Well, I want to just keep you safe.
Should
you
we
know?
call you something else?
You can call me whatever you like, I suppose.
Whatever you
Well, I mean,
like.
if they're looking for a Desmond, if we called you something else, they wouldn't think that was you.
I think we should refer to him as an increasingly difficult to remember series of spices.
I think it's my last name.
Woof, okay.
Problems. So it's
But I don't know that.
I'm sorry, I didn't write that down. Can you repeat that again?
I don't get it.
Tarragon.
Next time.
My last name would be a little bittersweet in Bara, but in a lot of the other towns, it'd probably be met with a lot of animosity.
Gotcha.
Well, I don't know it and I don't want to, so that way
Okay.
it's not a problem.
Arousable deniability.
If you feel they're getting wise, please let us
Any of those
know.
tomatoes left?
Absolutely.
Yes, actually, I have at least 4, I think.
That is technically correct.
And I'm munching on one of them and I hand over the rest. And anyone slice these up, these are pretty good.
What is it?
I got some
gonna freak
fresh
out.
tomatoes. Evelyn and I went
Just start
shopping and
gnawing
found
at
some
it.
Good fresh tomatoes.
There is now a ferret sitting on a stool eating tomato with
I
his
tried a
hands.
slice of tomato on an eel cake.
I'll take a bit.
Freaking good. Actually, that word worked great. These tomatoes are sweet. Clearly, it's still a little bit warm from the day's sun ripening. This part of Anor is known for its vegetables, its orchards, its kind of agrarian products and whatnot. Especially Bara is known to be sort of a cornucopia of good food. And these are a great representation of that.
Dope.
Delicious.
Well, I think I'm going to head off to bed now.
Yeah, I could use some shut eye myself.
All right.
Now, how's the stub toe in the dark?
I think it's
The Pilsner?
Wait.
Pilsner with
Oh,
ice.
yeah.
Pilsner with ice?
It's pretty good.
To be fair, I can make the ice if you
it's-
really want.
It's not the one you were looking for, but it's surprisingly floral and enjoyable.
Yep.
Odd. I like it.
And you keep bumping into stuff as you drink it, but you're glad it's there.
Yeah, exactly.
You were looking for it.
Please.
the whole time.
Didn't
It
know
scratched the
what
it.
you were looking for, but you found it, and you're glad you did.
I gotta trust you for drink orders more often. First, I didn't understand much of what you're saying, but now I'm starting to understand.
Just order from here.
All right,
So
well,
much truth in that.
the night begins to wind down. You all start to make your way out of the inn and around to the back where there are a series of cottages established for all of you. Can't help but notice the group of Tritons down by the lake who still seem to be roughhousing. You see, those of you with dark vision, you see Mora enter the fray, and there's sort of a moment as she squares off, her entire head just goes expands outward. She picks a guy up and just hucks him about 10 feet inland, and he lands and like digs a trench through the sand. She takes her staff up, kind of salutes the rest of them. Her head comes back down to normal size.
I'm imagining like just her head is a puffer fish.
I was just thinking.
You would not be far from the truth.
Oh no.
I love it.
However, most of you are feeling pretty darn worn out at this point, it sounds like, and it looks like the roughhousing is winding down over there.
Are the wagons behind the inn as well?
The wagons have all been arrayed as well back there towards one of the other houses. You have been assigned a different house that you are going to be bunking up in.
Edwin is going to go sleep on the wagon.
Okay,
In
sounds
fair
good.
form.
Considering our job's still not technically over, we should probably have a rotating shift of watches. Make sure nothing happens.
I'm alright with that.
I'll go first if you want.
Yeah, I can join you, and then we can swap off from there.
Who would want to go next?
That's fair by me.
Actually, you know what I was thinking? We should probably be in the middle of the night. That's when you got the most likely chance of something bad happening, and that's when you'd want, about 400 pounds sitting up on top, 500 pounds.
That is a conservative
rough.
estimate, yeah.
A lot of poundage up on there.
At least some pounds.
At least 4.
At least 12 pounds up on the cart.
I can count for at least one, I think.
Oh,
We'll wake you up next.
all right.
All right.
I'll do
And
the
Barrett will
second
talk to
two.
whoever's
Or
guarded first.
Us too, so yeah.
Okay,
We don't have to go through a whole thing on it,
I
but
will
can
just
I find
take
anybody in the market that's my interest?
If anything happens,
We will get to that next session.
Okay.
However, for right now, the evening has wound down. Letty's rest is resting. And you watch as once more the stars begin to kind of twinkle overhead, profiling the extremely vivid white moon that sort of slowly moves its way across this kind of singular block of ice that you all have been very familiar with since your childhoods. Hearing the stories of how it is frozen before making its way across the sky. It is a sister to the sun and is known to be kind of a bringer of the cold of the night as you watch. And it kind of gives you all a sense of, again, peace, and it outlines with a little bit of kind of deep blue all of the various blades of grass and the twinkling ripples of water over Lake Eloir, and makes you think about what the next day may bring and what adventures Bara may have in store for you. And that is where we are going to wind it down, everybody, for today. Make sure to tune back in 2 weeks for the next session of Anor. We will not be having a Anor session next weekend, but we will post on social media if we have any other stuff we're hoping to stream for this coming weekend. And just a reminder that we will be starting at around noon-ish, and we'll also
that
post
as
about
well.
that when we confirm the exact timage.
But we will be changing the time regardless. So.
Yes. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everybody, and y'all have a great rest of your Sunday. All right. Yeah.